Boa tarde, senhoras e senhores. Bem-vindo a Lisboa e bem-vindo a Epicenter. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cointelegraph China, Cointelegraph, and Cryptomeria Epicenter Lisbon Crypto Conference. Thank you very much for taking your time and being here with us today. Before we get started, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to everyone who supported this event and make it happen a huge success as it is, including Alchemy Pay, Neo, Cross the Ages, X Protocol, PlatON, Eco, and Binance. Also, the special thanks go to all the speakers who made it here today and will share their expertise and in-depth knowledge with us. At the time where emerging technologies such as blockchain and cryptocurrency offer various possibilities to different industries in the world, a growing interest in how the convergence of traditional enterprises and finance with these technologies has begun. Today, we gathered the CEOs and founders of technology companies, fast-growing startups, policymakers, traditional and crypto VCs to have an in-depth dialogue and understand what is next. Thank you very much for your attention, and please help me welcome at the stage the CEO of Cointelegraph China and the founding member of Cryptomeria Capital, Vadim Krikotin. Your applause, please.
Everyone. I'm so excited to see all of you guys here. It's my pleasure to be in Lisbon and presenting a welcome speech to you. So first of all, I want to start and tell you a little bit more about my background. I spent more than 10 years in China, so I can speak Chinese. 我会讲中文。我们的中国的朋友，你好，你好。Hello, yeah, so I'm back to English. And I'm co-founder and CEO of Cointelegraph Chinese. During this pandemic situation, it was so difficult to handle all the things, but at the same time, we handle it. And for the last statistics, we have more than 20 million impressions per month for our Chinese-speaking audience, which is in Singapore, in China, in Taiwan, and Hong Kong. So for us as a media, we definitely want to deliver the most freshest news to find interesting stories for you guys to know. Also, I want to say a couple more words about me. I'm also a founding partner of Cryptomeria Capital. My first investment in crypto was in 2017, so I'm sort of like a veteran in space. When your first Bitcoin was less than $1,000 US, so right now for many people it's something like, wow, like my first Bitcoin maybe 30,000 or 50,000. Yes, and I started as an angel investor to many projects in 2017. Right now we have Cryptomeria Capital. We invest in the best projects who build in the Web3 technologies, because I do believe that this is the future. This is something that's coming, and I'm so excited to be in the edge of the new things. Just circling back like 4 years ago, I cannot even imagine that Facebook can change the name to Meta. I cannot even imagine Visa can buy NFTs for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And on the beginning of the Web Summit, the second speech will be from Sarar about NFT. Yeah, so for me, it's so excited to see that things is happening, but I do believe we are still in a very beginning in our industry. We have so many things to do, and thanks everyone who come today, who support us, who help in the industry to grow. I also want to say thanks a lot to our sponsors, to our friends, to our partner Cointelegraph, for everyone who come here. I want to say thank you for our YouTube followers who are watching us online, for our Chinese audience. 非常感谢大家也支持我们，也看我们的直播。So thanks everyone. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Enjoy. Thank you.
So the first one up is an online opening from Hongfei Da, the founder of Neo, who will be talking to us about Neo and 3, building blocks to the web 3.0. Thank you.
Hi guys, this is Daunfei from NEO. Thank you very much for your kind introduction and having me today. It's a pity that I cannot make the trip to Lisbon this time, but actually I was in Lisbon in 2019 during the Web Summit conference. I was really impressed by the city. The people are very friendly, the weather is good, air is clean, and the restaurants. I was really impressed by the restaurant. The seafood here is fantastic. Most importantly, that Lisbon has become the one of the blockchain technology hub, not just for Europe but also for the world globally. I think the biggest reason is the crypto-friendly environment here, the policies, the education, the talents here are really fantastic. As we know, the last 1 or 2 years are the fast growing of Web 3.0, of NFT, of Metaverse, and NEO had been a tremendous had put a tremendous effort into these different sectors. And today I would like to take this opportunity to introduce some of the new updates of NEO, especially the new version of NEO N3. So let's get started. I'll do a very short, about 5 to 10 minutes introduction of NEO N3. And as the title says, NEO N3 is the building blocks for Web 3.0. So the first slide is the definition of 3.0, or my understanding of Web 3.0. In my opinion, Web 3.0 is an innovation at a lower level, penetrating from surface to the underlying protocols. When the internet started in 1990s, the applications are mostly websites. The information are flow from the creator to the consumer in one way, not two ways. And the representative websites are Yahoo and search engines like Baidu. And then people started to build platforms. People started to invent those user-generated content websites. The iconic applications will be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. These applications, those websites are not just delivering a message from or content from the creator to consumers. They also allow users to create contents. They are more like a marketplace, play in both directions, and they also aggregates all supply and demand together. But the downside is they're like the monopoly of a market. And then with the emerge of Bitcoin, the blockchain technology, the decentralization ideology, people started to reinvent the protocols, reinvent the rules. So more distributed, more inclusive applications can be built on top of those Web 3.0 protocols. So this is my understanding of Web 3.0. It's not a replacement of Web 1 or Web 2. It's innovation at a different level. NEO N3 will be the infrastructure for 3.0, mainly for 3 reasons. 1, we have several new functionalities. 2nd, we have a new governance model. And 3rd, we've built a new ecosystem. So let's look at one by one. First are the new functionalities. With NEO N3, we have new ID, a generalized decentralized identity solution built in the NEO N3 mainnet. And we also have NEO FS, an open network for distributed storage, paralleled with the NEO network. So if you are a developer of NEO N3, you have the ability to mapping real-world identity utilizing NEO ID. You have the ability to save any data no matter how big the data is. And the last functionality is called Oracle. With the Oracle functionality, any smart contract on new N3 will be able to read any given URL from the internet. So it will act like a bridge between current internet or Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 and the blockchain, the Web 3.0. So NEO is like a all-in-one toolbox for any blockchain developers. And this page is about the new governance model. With new N3, we designed a new governance. Every NEO token is a voting power. And if you have one NEO, you have one vote. So with your NEO token, you can vote for any address as long as they are registered as a candidate. And also any new wallet address can be registered as a candidate. And the votes will be calculated every 21 blocks. The top 21 address or the top 21 candidates will form the new council. The council will do the on-chain governance together by voting. There will be adjust those parameters like block time, consensus nodes, number of consensus nodes, and other parameters. And also the top 7 of the top 21 new council members will be responsible for the processing or the recording of transactions. In the past several years, NEO has developed a large community across the world. There are sponsored communities in China, in US, in Europe, and in many other places. For example, the new FS, the decentralized file storage system, are independently built by NEO SPCC. Most of their members are living in St. Petersburg in Russia. Many of the security audit of smart contracts on NEO are overviewed by Red4Sec, which are based in Spain. Many of the consensus improvement optimization are proposed by NEO Research, who are based in Brazil. And the biggest NEO media, media about NEO blockchain are based in America, called NEO News Today. And the two biggest execution arm of NEO Foundation are based in Shanghai and Seattle, called NGD, New Global Development. And this page are a list of various applications, projects are in the NEO ecosystem. Now let's talk a little about Metaverse. My understanding of the relationship between Metaverse and NFT and Web 3.0 are that Web 3.0 will be the supporting infrastructure of Metaverse. Without various infrastructures of Web 3.0, it will be impossible to build a unified, a generalized, a interoperable metaverse. And I can call Metaverse a tokenized cyberspace. FT, or fungible token, will be the economics, the incentive behind Web 3.0, but NFT, which represents different goods, different commodities, different items or assets in games, in virtual reality, will be the main token inside Metaverse. So N3 are ready for Metaverse applications. And we have NFT standards, NEP 11. We have various NFT projects. We have GameFi projects. And we also have invested in a marketplace called Ghost Market, which is very similar to OpenSea. And also to memorize the launch of mainnet of N3, we also issued a Neoverse NFT token to our community members. And because N3 is almost like a completely new blockchain with new architecture, with new functionalities, with new governance model. So we have to do a migration from new legacy, today's new, or yesterday's new, to today's new N3. And here is the update of the migration progress. 70% of the new token had been migrated to N3. And there are over 10,000 N3 addresses generated on the mainnet. And the voting had already represent 47% of all the new voting power. There are a lot of transactions every day. They are already deployed more than 20 different decentralized applications, and also centralized exchanges like Binance, OKEX, or Huobi had already supported N3 or will support N3 very soon. Since the infrastructure of new N3 is completely ready now, you can join new community in various ways. If you want to earn some gas, you can campaign for a new council candidate. You can also run a new FS or a new Oracle network nodes to earn some gas. And if you are a developer or a entrepreneur, you want to start up some new projects, you can also apply for grants or investment from new eco fund. So I welcome you to join us to start building for Web 3.0, a better internet. Thank you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed my introduction about new N3. Next year, I would like to meet you guys in person or in the Metaverse built on new N3. Thank you.
So, the first one up in person is the keynote speech from Carmen Tang, who is the Chief of Staff and Head of Communications at Alchemy Pay, who will be talking to us about bridging the crypto and fiat global economies. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all enjoying Lisbon as much as I am. I think I've probably eaten about 20 of those pastry things so far. My name is Carmen, and I'll be speaking on behalf of Alchemy Pay today. We've been following the developments in the crypto payment space, and I think it's clear to say that crypto payments are the future of mainstream finance. The Chain Analysis report back in August reported an Go back. Sorry. Bear with us. Thank you. Cheers, no worries. Is this one working? 2 secs, we'll be back. Do you want to check?
Sorry for interruption. We're just fixing some minor technical problems, and we'll be back in 30 seconds. Thank you. Thank you very much for your patience. We're ready to be back. Please help me welcome Carmen, and let's start the keynote. Thank you.
It wouldn't be a tech conference without technical difficulties, right? So, where was I? My name is Carmen, and I'll be speaking on behalf of Alchemy Pay today. We've been watching developments in the crypto payment sector, and I think it's clear to say that crypto payments is the future of mainstream finance. The Chainalysis report back in August has announced that there's been nearly a 900% increase in crypto adoption globally. 900%. The technology and infrastructure has been rapidly growing. And you'll see countries such as El Salvador and Lebanon with high inflationary figures that are adopting cryptocurrency fast. Every McDonald's and Starbucks in El Salvador now accepts Bitcoin. This is something that we wouldn't have imagined even just 2 years ago. I want to ask you guys in the audience, hands up if when you were younger, your parents told you to save. Okay, so quite a few of you. Saving actually, in case you didn't know, saving erodes your wealth. And the reason why is that fiat currencies. So for those of you who don't know what a fiat currency is, these are currencies pegged by the government and aren't pegged to gold. So printing more money creates inflation and therefore reduces the value of this currency. We here at Alchemy Pay have been seeing that there's been a huge increase in crypto adoption. And we've seen that people understand that DeFi services in crypto not only work, but they can change the society in a profound way. The crypto era is here. 2021's Global Crypto Adoption Index has revealed that there's been an 881% increase in global adoption of crypto between Q2 of 2019 and Q2 of this year. You'll see waves of global brands, including the likes of Amazon, eBay, WeWork, all integrating crypto into their services. So what do we do here at Alchemy Pay? So we offer an all-in-one solution, a gateway to bridge the gap between the fiat and crypto world. We allow merchants to accept crypto at the point of sale and to convert that into local currency, whether that's B2B, C2B, it's simple. Crypto and fiat payment acceptance are widely being accepted all around the world. Expertise, networking, and experience is core to the foundation of our founders, and this gives us our special edge in the crypto payment space. Our founders all come from huge, giant payment veterans, including the likes of PayPal, MasterCard, and Tencent, who all believe that crypto is the future. We have over around 50 developers who are all working together to help build merchants and help merchants to accept cryptocurrency. We started out in Singapore and started deploying our services back in 2018, and we are now in over 60+ countries, servicing 200+ fiat payment channels. But what do these numbers really mean? Alchemy Pay is really the bridge between the crypto and fiat economy, because nowadays, with many crypto and blockchain projects happening, it can be difficult to have real-world use cases. And so we are really here to bridge that gap between the current world and the digital world. So how does it work? Crypto's ability to bypass the costly aspects of the interchange and acquiring banks allows Alchemy Pay to reduce fees and create lower-cost transactions. Currently, credit card providers are charging merchants around 2.5 to 3.5% on fees. On top of this, there's often a fixed fee, and merchants often don't receive their money until 1 to 2 weeks later. By bypassing this middleman, we can cut costs and actually reduce consumer fees to around 50 to 60%. Our ACH token is pledged, deposited, paid as fees, and incentivized for a highly functional ecosystem. Due to our increase in adoption over our merchants over the past few years, we've experienced a 150x increase in our token price. And we've also grown our community followers across Reddit, Twitter, and Telegram by 10x to 200K. This has meant that we've been listed on some of the world's most established crypto exchanges, including the likes of Coinbase, Gemini, and Crypto.com, and many more. But what we're really excited is our partnerships. We work with industry giants across crypto and fiat worlds. We take a very top-down level strategy, whereby we work with merchants, industry leaders, and licenses to help scale and to drive adoption in a faster pace. One partnership that we have is Binance. We started out in Singapore and in Hong Kong, working with different merchants such as Celavi and Marina Bay Sands, and many more. And now we are accepting BNB and BUSD payments by over 2 million plus merchants. We're also among one of the first acquirers to be accepted by Binance Pay. And now we have over 60 million plus users that can pay over 40 different cryptocurrencies. As one of the global leaders in the crypto payment space, we are super proud to be the official payment partner for Shopify. But what does this actually mean? This means that we have availability to over 1 million merchants for Shopify merchants who can actually see the Alchemy Pay solution and now accept fiat and crypto payments. On top of this, we've also partnered with one of Southeast Asia's leading global remittance partners, Niam. How many of you have actually tried to send money abroad and don't actually know how much you're getting charged? There's many fixed fees that you often get when you're sending money abroad, and often we don't actually know how much this is going to be. These problems are problems back in the analog world, but we now live in a digital world. And so why should we be paying fees when we aren't even crossing borders? It's now time to get rid of the old analog financial system and step into the new one. Another exciting partnership that we've been meaning to announce is one of our Middle Eastern conglomerates. We've set up a JV with a Middle Eastern conglomerate. Now, due to NDAs, we can't announce the name yet, but please stay tuned on our socials. We'll be announcing this later this quarter. This conglomerate has over 1 billion in revenue, and they own numerous shopping centers, malls, restaurants, and premium hotels. Why is this exciting? This is exciting because we can't wait to see the scale and the impact that we'll have on this area of the world. Oh, go back. On the left here, you'll see an example of one of the solutions that we'll be deploying. Users will be able to top up their wallets in AED or USD through credit cards or e-wallet payments. They'll also be able to access DeFi services such as crypto lending or staking. Over 90% of UAE residents are currently expats. What does this mean? This means there's huge demand in that space for remitting money globally. What our solution will be able to do is provide reduced remittance fees of up to 80%. We'll also be offline and will be in stores and shops around the Middle East, and we'll be providing institutional services to other servicing corporations, banks, and financial institutions. One of our white label services includes a loyalty token. So we enable businesses to issue loyalty tokens and integrate this with their users. Often starting a loyalty program can be costly and quite inefficient. It takes time to reconcile everything. But running our service, using our service on the blockchain, we'll be able to reconcile and create efficient redemption. A second new service that we've announced recently is our crypto-linked cards. We'll be providing a white label service for blockchain projects, other financial institutions, and corporations. We've partnered up with 6 world-renowned artists, including the likes of Songting, to issue NFT limited edition crypto-linked cards. So it's been a period of great success for us and also in the crypto payment sector. We've had new partnerships, we've had token price growth, and we've also experienced huge community growth. Make sure we invite you to connect with us on social media, as we'll be announcing some of our exciting new JVs coming up soon. But often what you'll see is that the crypto payment sector is still often quite fragmented and lacks interoperability. We here at Alchemy Pay are able to connect all of these different partners within the blockchain infrastructure, all across payments, banks, exchanges, and cryptocurrencies, merchants, and many more. And the blockchain industry can often be quite fragmented still, and we understand that this requires maintenance, and to keep it optimal requires this maintenance. So with that in mind, we have started the Blockchain Infrastructure Alliance with other founding members including Polygon, Conflux, Neo, and other industry veterans. We've put together an alliance where we can invite members to help uplift the blockchain industry. We're connected with over 30 different academics across Ivy League universities to really help to showcase the future trends in the blockchain space. We've also started an ecosystem fund, whereby we will be providing the funds and resources, many different developers, to help incubate and work on these exciting enterprises to help uplift the blockchain space. As you all know, there are many different blockchain and crypto companies happening right now, and we see that we can create huge synergies within the space if we are all talking to each other. So with that in mind, I think it's a really exciting time to be alive. And with talk of the metaverse and everything, we see that when we look at the future, we envision one of financial inclusion, transparency, and honesty for people no matter where they're from and from what geography. If you're interested in connecting today, please do come over and chat. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for listening. And the second keynote speech is up. We will be listening to Lily Xiao, the Director of New Global Development, and she will be talking to us in Empowering the Smart Economy, a journey of faith and vision. Thank you. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Liu Zhao. It's great to be here. Earlier from Da Hongfei's speech, he shared with us his understanding of Web3 and Metaverse. He also introduced us N3, the latest version of Neo blockchain. So in the next 15 minutes, I want to share with you the journey of N3, empowering the smart economy, a journey of faith and vision. But before I start, we actually have a very fun treasure hunt Twitter game. So basically very simple. By the end of my speech, I'll share a secret code. You can tweet and tag Neo blockchain. If you're not following us yet, our Twitter handle is Neo_blockchain. To get the chance to win Neoverse NFT blind box. So now let's start. For those of you who are wondering, or who are new to Neo, what is Neo? Simply put, Neo is an open source public blockchain platform. Our vision is to be a network for the smart economy, which we define as having 3 elements: digital assets, digital identity, and smart contracts. Now, a little bit of history of Neo. We have been around for a long time. So Neo was created by Da Hongfei and Eric Zhang in 2014 under the name iShares. In 2017, we had a rebranding from iShares to Neo. And 2018, we kicked off the N3 project's upgrade. And in August 2021, 3 years in the making by our team, our globally distributed communities, we're very proud to have launched N3. As Star mentioned, currently we're in the process of migrating the projects and token from the NEO legacy to the N3. So you might be wondering, how is an open source project, how is it structured? Here are the main groups working on the NEO. So we have a NEO Foundation, which is mainly responsible for strategy and funding. The operational side is carried out by NEO Global Development. We also have a core developers, 7, and many globally sponsored community developers. Now, the excitement. What is N3? And why we're so excited about what we have launched, what we have built, 3 years in the making. Why is N3 unique? And why we're so convinced N3 is a game changer. So N3 is built for large-scale commercial usage. The slogan for N3 is all-in-one, all-in-NEO. Let's just look at all the features in N3, from interoperability to native oracles, self-sovereign identity, decentralized storage, NEO-name services, one-block finalities, best-in-class tooling, smart contracts, multi-languages, all in one, all in N3. I'm really excited. So, yes. Now let's see how the economics aspect works. There are 2 native tokens on NEO, namely NEO, the governing token, and GAS, the utility token. Here on the N3 on-chain governance, we are encouraging the NEO token holders to actively participate in the NEO network governance. Because ultimately, the NEO token holders are the owners and managers of the NEO network. So by holding NEO, you automatically get a gas. But as you can see, 10% of the gas generation will be rewarded to the NEO token holders. But if you vote, 80% will go to the voting group. Of that, 40% is split to the group who vote for the NEO consensus nodes, and the other 40% to the remaining 14 council members. And the other 10% is split between the 21 council members. Now, ecosystem. I'm really excited about this page, not because for its majestic beauty in its graph. Let's look at the NEO ecosystem in 4 layers, because this tells a lot. Protocol, components, infrastructure, applications. You may have noticed that N3, we are laying a solid foundation by building the protocol components, interoperabilities through Poly network. So the solid ground has been laid for N3. And the next, we're expanding and boosting the infrastructure and application layer. If you are a developer, or if you're building applications, if you are thinking, now is the best time to join the NEO ecosystem, You're right in thinking as so. Let me repeat. There's no better time to join the NEO ecosystem than now, as we lay the foundation on the protocol components layer, expanding the infrastructure and applications. I'm also very proud to mention one of our DeFi applications, Flamingo. The teams are here. They will join me for the next panel session. Sorry, the presentation is not finished yet. Next page, please. Hello, tech guys. Next page, please. Next page, please. This is not the last page. Anyway, so yes, I encourage you to join our ecosystem. So how can we support you to join our ecosystem? Well, we have many, many supports. If you are a developer, you can apply for the NEO grants to build on the infrastructure. If you are a DApp, we have an early adopter program. We also have the NEO Eco Boost program, which is a 100 million fund to support the ecosystem. It's pity the presentation is not finished yet. Anyway, and next we are launching a hackathon. We actually launched the hackathon already this year, and of which 50 projects were submitted, 11 winners, and 4 were selected to the early adoption program. So for the next hackathon, it's planned next year, February and March. I encourage you to check it, and even if you're not developers, we're always looking for and creative business talents to join as well, because our developers need business and creative talents to complete the team. Now, I want to say that the vision of the smart economy is a journey of faith. We often hear vision because vision is exciting, is inspiring, is grand, but faith often involves blood, sweat, and tears. In the crypto space, faith is also confronted with FAT, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So we want to prove to you, our community members, that we have built a powerful engine in N3. We have proved to you, and let us prove to you, this powerful engine is set to take off. Let us also prove to you, NEO is the one. And this is also the secret code to share on Twitter, tag NEO blockchain to win Neoverse NFT blind box. Thank you so much, everyone. Any questions, please get in touch. My name is Li Zhao. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. We're right on time to move to our first panel discussion, which will be hosted by Anastasia Drinevskaya, the CEO of communication agency Cointelegraph China, and creative director of the Cointelegraph. And they will be discussing the crypto landscape and adoption in Asia and Europe. Please welcome the host and the participants on the stage. Thank you.
Hey. Well, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you that I'm seeing all of you here, and thank you for coming. Let's talk a bit. So, hitting all-time heights of around $65,000 in April 2021, Bitcoin has assured a newfound interest in digital currencies and the applications of blockchain technology. And whether you first realized that you started to learn crypto from news section or from well-tech friends we'll have, or you invested in them yourself personally, you realized that cryptocurrencies are rapidly gaining traction among real investors. But what's the real crypto landscape and its adoption in Asia, in Europe nowadays? So we invited the special guests to join the discussion and realize what happened. So it's a pleasure for me to meet Lily Zhao, Director of Neo Global Development. Lily, please come back to the stage. Where is she? No? Okay, let's proceed. Ot Jürgen, co-founder of MyMingo. Vitalis Yelkin, CEO of TradeAllies. Please take a seat. Gleb Kosterev, Director at Binance Eastern Europe. And our star, Lily Zhao. Hey guys, what's up? So the first panel discussion, we're a bit in a rush, so please, we'll start. So Lily, you just finished your awesome speech, and what I'm really interested to ask you, is Asia still the most active cryptocurrency market? So is Asia still the most active cryptocurrency market?
Well, according to statistics, they say that Europe now has overtaken Asia as the cryptocurrency trading center, which I can totally understand. I'm based in Switzerland. So when we look at Asia, the crypto sentiment is very high because it's driven by retail traders. And when I go back to Asia, I hear people just very excited to talk about the crypto. It's not just a trading activity. For many, it's a passion, it's a hobby. But here in Europe, the crypto is more focused on institutional. For institutional, it's not sentiment driven, it's more the infrastructure driven. So that's why it may take a while, but now the infrastructure is being laid. So Europe has overtaken Asia as the trading center for crypto adoption.
Yes, for sure. Maybe Gleb, you have something to add?
I'm responsible for Eastern Europe, and Eastern Europe is a pretty specific region because in Russia, in Ukraine, they don't really follow the approach of European Union regulators, and local regulators, they consider crypto in their own way. So, for example, in Russia, I think they like more approach of of China, of Asia. They are more cautious. So, crypto is legal. It's a property. You can buy and sell it. But meanwhile, local regulators don't really want to promote crypto and give huge access to crypto exchanges. So they are more cautious. But meanwhile, Russia is one of the biggest markets in the crypto industry. A lot of tech developers from Russia and Ukraine. And a lot of great projects such as 1inch, Rarible, Trust Wallet, Solana, Near, all those guys, all those projects, they have some founders with Russian or Ukrainian roots.
What's the main problem you're trying to solve in Binance Eastern Europe? The main problem for you guys?
Yeah, so the main issue for us, of course, regulation and lack of clarity and transparency in terms of what we can do and what we can't do. So in Russia, you don't have any licenses for crypto exchanges. In Ukraine, the situation is the same, but Ukrainian regulators, they're more loyal and they want to make, crypto, crypto legal, allow crypto exchanges to work with banks. So, they're more loyal towards crypto. So actually, yeah, regulation, I would say that's the main challenge for us right now.
You always need to fight, with the whole world to trying to build the real landscape in Eastern Europe. Thank you so much. What's the crypto landscape in Europe look like currently? And I really would love to hear this answer from Vitalis Yelkins. So maybe you make me a pleasure to discuss it with us.
Sure. So I believe that, first of all, Europe is very different. And it is wrong to say like Europe is the one single sport, but United Kingdom drives Europe adoption for sure. I believe both in trading volumes and both in like percentage of adoption. Like as far as I know, in UK it is more than 5% of population owning crypto, and then comes likely France, Germany, Switzerland, and then other countries.
But so it's still difficult to talk about the adoption,
But 5% is pretty high number. For example, Americans own, I believe, from 8 to 10%, and so it is one of the highest levels of adoption among first-tier countries. Yeah. And if we're speaking about volumes, so UK retail, like probably their consumption power is biggest, so that's why they're taking a lead. But if we're speaking about legal adoption, I'm sure that it should be completely different countries, like Switzerland, where like landscape is really very strong. Very likely Estonia and Portugal, of course.
Well, let's dream a bit, and if, for example, in 10 years, how the crypto landscape, how it looks like. So maybe you have any thoughts?
Yeah, hello? Yeah. I can just guess from my little hub up in Norway, but I think regulators will come. They will adjust to the crypto. Crypto needs to adjust to regulators. And regulation takes time. And that's
so it's all about the regulations?
Yeah, but it's a good thing. We don't want countries that like allow something today and bans it tomorrow, because then you have the volatility. So let's take time. Let's learn to know each other, like regulators and crypto people need to talk.
Is 10 years enough for this?
What?
Is 10 years enough for this?
Yeah.
For the regulations?
Yeah, I think so, because this is a disruptive technology. It's moving fast, and it has traction. So if the regulators wait 10 years, they are too late. The technology is already too big, like it is now with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. It's too big to regulate them.
Well, and for example, for your project, what is the strategy right now for the next years? So we are talking about the adoption, and this is the main question actually. And what do you think for your project next 2 or 3 years, how you will develop it?
We are really like trying to lower the barrier of entry. We want to help people get into crypto feel safe, because today it's much like you have tech people that have crypto or people that know someone that knows tech. Because it's so unsafe to invest in it, you don't know what it is. So we need to make it easy, we need to make it accessible for everyone, and that will be like our main goal, to help other people that don't know someone that knows tech to be able to have crypto, spend crypto, use crypto. And I think that's the most important part of it, that we need to use it as an asset.
And you will also face with adoption, because when you're trying to use crypto, for example, in Europe, you just cannot do this as far as you can do it in Turkey or in Arabian Emirates or in United States. So how to solve this problem?
I think like you need to be regulator friendly. You need to talk with them. You need to like have conversations. We speak with like a lot of crypto lawyers, and they say like governments want to cooperate, but they don't know how. They don't know the technology. They don't have the know-how. So who has the know-how? We have the know-how. We just need to talk with them and tell them like this is that and this is how that is working.
Well, I guess it's hard for Ukraine and Russia still because, for example, in next 2 years, how you will compete with these other things that should be more cryptocurrency friendly, and it's hard to adopt it in Russia and Ukraine, and how to make it safe nowadays. So I'm really interested. So Ott is telling us that he will protect anyone from all these things, and you guys, what would you do? In next 2 years, like for Binance Europe. So there is a lot of complicated things in bureaucracy and in country systems. So how to face it?
So overall, in terms of challenges for the next 2 years, so again, in terms of regulation, so we always work with the regulators. We try to help them to make some better environment for crypto industry, help them, to attract, good startups, to attract some investments, because crypto is generating huge volumes, and actually countries, governments, they can also get some funds in taxation. But overall, I think that the main challenge is that in terms of regulators, they can put some taxes, but still there are some areas such as DeFi, NFT, and it's pretty complicated to choose the approach how to regulate it. And for example, GameFi as well. So in Philippines, right? So they're trying to regulate right now GameFi, but overall, I think it's pretty complicated, to do that. So of course, regulating some fiat channels and buying, selling, it's okay. But when we speak about DeFi, about KYC, AML, in DeFi, so how it will work. So it's it's complicated to say right now how it will develop in the next 2 years. But definitely regulators will try to do some steps in regulating DeFi and NFTs. Yeah, and also another trend is that crypto mass adoption. So right now we see that celebrities, musicians, sports teams, so they all are issuing own tokens. And this week, for example, Binance announced another fan token with the Portuguese club, Porto, and it's just the beginning. We also, at Binance NFT Marketplace, we launched NFTs with the hockey league in Russia. And right now we see the huge demand from sports organizations, from influencers, from musicians. They all want to launch NFTs. They all want to launch their fun tokens and some and use this new technology. So yeah.
And this is one more point to safety, because when we are talking about NFT and Metaverse, it's about rights to the items, and it's still hard to regulate. For example, if I will buy NFT, how I will solve the problem if someone will just copy-paste it and put it in the other museum or something like that. I cannot just come to the room and tell, so please put off my picture or something like that. You want to tell something? I saw that.
I just wanted to touch up on what he was talking about when it comes to regulators, because in Europe, at least, they are working with on law on DeFi. So I think the progress is there. It will come. We just need to give them some time because it's bureaucracy. Yeah.
Yeah, bureaucracy is the main thing.
That's the reason why smaller countries has more advantage, because they have less bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And crypto is changing very fast, so they can adopt faster, and that is why we see tendencies that smaller countries has better regulations for crypto.
Does Trustless adopt faster for the challenges?
We're trying to do our best.
Okay. Well, Lily, if we will talk about the trends for the future, so for these two regions, Asia and Europe, maybe some predictions or how do you think they will develop in the near future for the trends? So what we're gonna see in the next couple of years?
I actually think in our industry is decentralized, global by nature. So I actually do not see a huge divergence in terms of the adoption between the two regions. And in the future, what I would like to see is actually in a few years, we don't talk about crypto as something like so extremely special and you will be integrated into the standard asset allocation as a asset class, both in Asia and in Europe. But it's already happening in Europe, but in Asia, I think it would probably it take a bit longer time.
So maybe you can call me some trends in the future. For Trustless especially, really.
I think that there are some obvious trends like Metaverse, and like DeFi, probably 2.0, but crypto is changing really fast, and I believe that it is almost impossible to predict what is going to be in 5 years. It is very likely that it's possible to predict what is going to be in a year, but again, trends are changing so fast. So the main issue is that every participant should try to adopt with the same speed.
And what do you think, will Asia and Europe ever approve Bitcoin ETFs?
I'm almost sure that Europe will see first Bitcoin ETF in Europe probably next year.
Next year?
I even know people who are working on it.
And your thoughts?
I have no idea. I work in my little bubble, and people that do ETFs can do them. Yeah.
So, and maybe I want to ask Gleb about challenges in exchanges nowadays. So, do you have special approach for Asia and Eastern Europe in Binance?
In terms of approach, Russia, Ukraine, so Eastern Europe is,
No, we already discussed that these two regions are really specific and bureaucracy and blah, 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 but maybe you have some technical challenges to improve something to exchange, especially in Eastern Europe markets.
Sorry, could you repeat, please?
For example, when you work on your marketing strategy for Binance Eastern Europe, what's the main challenges except the bureaucracy of the region you faced?
So, I think the main challenges, in terms of marketing strategy. So of course, grab some attention from users. What tactics you can use because, for example, social media in Russia, you have VK, that's pretty popular. So social media is pretty different from those that are used in Europe or in Asia. LinkedIn is banned in Russia. So you should try to find some, you should really, dig into what, social media, for example, local crypto industry is using. And, of course, there are some challenges again, related to, some dark crypto because, in Eastern Europe, it's one of the biggest regions in terms of getting funds from dark web, from ransomware, from some, frauds, etc. Because there are a lot of hackers, and of course, in the US, in Europe, they don't really like it, and it's another challenge that you should deal with if you run an exchange. So you should have some KYC, ML procedures enforced. So you should use all this, chain analysis, crystal, CipherTrace, other software, and be, put more attention to those transactions. So yeah, you should also keep that in mind. And overall, I think that mindset of people in Eastern Europe is more Asian, because people don't really, think, about their investments in the long term, because economies develop, local economies developing, and users are trying to earn right here, right now, and this is why they don't really think what will happen with their assets in 2, 3 years, 5 years. Nobody's building long-term investments because you have huge inflation, more than 5%, and it's okay for this, Eastern Europe and developing countries, and it also affects your marketing strategy, because there is no sense to explain people, okay, if you will buy some Bitcoin and you will hold it for 10 years, it will be great, because people, they want to earn right here, right now. So you should more educate them, explain them what are risks and why earning funds, making millions in 1 week, it doesn't work.
Yeah, really.
So
is it hard to educate community which forms around your social media networks?
Sorry?
Is it hard to educate your community inside your social media?
Yeah, because overall financial literacy is also lower than, for example, in Western Europe. Because in Western Europe, people more or less know main, financial, tools, financial assets, equities, bonds, etc. And in Eastern Europe, the market, financial market just started to develop only, 20 or 30 years ago. So yeah, more education is needed in this region.
And for the project which just started, is it hard to build marketing strategy for the market, for the community, how to form it properly? What do you guys do?
For us, it's really important to interact with the community, have people there that can help out, and I can feel that the crypto space sometimes is a bit like harsh on new people. So we need to feel them like they are welcome. We will help you. Let's like take your hand and help you out. Take 5 minutes of my day and help you to understand crypto.
So you're ready to educate them as well?
Yeah, we need to do that if we want other people that's not tech savvy to join us. If we want this to be like the next revolution of Fiat, of course we need to help out people to make this easy. It's so important. And I think it's an obligation for all of us that loves crypto to do it. And that's basically why we chose Neo as our platform to build on, because they set the developer first, easy to come.
But you just launched 10 days
Yeah, but that's
before.
Flamingo's been there, so we can do...
So you use your previous audience and try to educate it to the new project?
No, but for me as a developer, it's so easy to just go there and do my stuff, because they have made the platform for me. And now it's important for me as a developer to make it easy for the users.
Oh, wow, this is, I guess, this is really curious thing, because the development side and user cases side, they are always fighting. It's hard to realize how to make it properly.
Yeah, but that's the hard part, and that's the really important part to solve. And I think like it's important for the blockchains to make it easy for the developers, to make it easy for the users.
Sure, pretty logical. Lily, do you have some special social media activities for Neo's users? Do you have special media activities for Neo's users? So how you educated them? Is it really useful for them?
So it's special?
No? And one more time. Do you some special stuff in social media for users of your project? How you educated them, and did you face some challenges in this case?
The challenge is
Challenges in this case in social media for Neo, for Neo, for your project.
Yes. So yeah, we have tutorials for developers, and we're also launching hackathon. And we just launched one in the summer before the N3 launch, and we're planning the next hackathon, which will be scheduled next year, February and March. This is a great way to get on board of NEO and to learn about the NEO technology. And let me emphasize, even for non-tech people, this is also a great way to join the NEO community.
Let's imagine if you can give an insight advice from each of your projects to our audience, which advice it would be? How to develop your project in Eastern Europe properly?
Sorry.
Advice to projects.
It's really loud here. I can't.
It's pretty loud. Okay. For example, each of you guys, so if you can give an advice to our audience, so if they decided to build a huge business in Asia or Eastern Europe, so what's the main advice you can give to them? So from your side.
So the main advice for...
Main advice if, for example, I decided to build a project in Europe or Asia. So main advice from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as a NEO is a underlying protocol. So for us, we are industry agnostic, we are geography agnostic, and in the blockchain space, anyhow, most teams are very decentralized. So I would say, let's be the example of borderless community, and we welcome projects from across the globe.
Gleb?
Yeah, we have a lot of different activities for projects and for local audience. So, for example, this week finished our online hackathon for Eastern and Central Europe. So we are really looking for new projects, and probably you heard that we launched a great fund to support projects on Binance Smart Chain. And we are really looking for some GameFi NFT projects that will be launched on Binance Smart Chain. It's one of our main targets right now to support our ecosystem, to develop it, to attract new developers to our blockchain. And yeah, again, for example, if you have a project out of Eastern Europe, you probably can also have a look at local tech engineers, because the cost of tech talents in Eastern Europe is lower than, for example, in US or in European Union. Meanwhile, the expertise of local tech talents, is pretty great. Yeah, I would say.
So what's about you?
I believe that the main secret is there is no secret. Like you should just try.
Just to launch the project wherever you are. So
you should pay attention for a lot of things, understand what is important for you, for your business, for your team, and what to focus on processes, on user acquisition, etc., etc. Just like it is on every period for the companies, there are different things that are important. So it is very important to determine where are you at and where you would like to go.
And the last advice from Mr. Rod. So
yeah, it would be like let the ideas die fast, move on to a new one if it didn't work, but don't give up. It's really important, and find something that's easy and that you can explain to a 5-year-old, because then you understand what you're doing.
Well, such a good words from our speakers, and I want to thank all of you that you're coming to this panel discussion. All your projects are super awesome, and I'm so thankful that I was moderating this panel. And please applause to our speakers. We are finished. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anastasia and the speakers. We're ready to welcome the host for the second panel discussion. Please help me welcome Vadim Krikotin, the CEO of Cointelegraph China and one of the founding members of Coinmedia. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. So we need a couple minutes for all the guests to prepare to come. First of all, I want to say a couple things about the main topic of the discussion right now. So cryptocurrency as an alternative investment. Basically, for majority of the people here, I do believe cryptocurrency is not alternative investments. This is the main investments, and this is majority of us, we're all in crypto. And but at the same time, what I start to mention, especially traveling all around the different cities like Dubai or New York, and seeing the people from the traditional investment industry, they want to enter the crypto. So for them, this is exactly like alternative investments. And this is exactly what we're going to talk today. We invited several people from traditional investment industry, from cryptocurrency investment industry as well. So I want to welcome the guests. The first one who's ready. Okay, so we're still under preparation right now. And what should I say here? That cryptocurrency is booming, and I see huge demand from some family offices, from multifamily offices, from the traditional investors. For them, my personal opinion, that they simply cannot enter the crypto because of the regulations, because a lot of stoppers from the, they own like formation of the funds, so they simply cannot enter the crypto, but a lot of them willing to do so. So we've seen for the last year that MicroStrategy, Tesla, all the big companies and a lot of institutionals, they follow them, especially after the ETF. After the ETF was confirmed by the SEC in the United States, I think it will be a huge inflow of the institutionals inside of the our industry, which definitely gonna help us to growth. So alternative investments, it's something that we're gonna discuss today. Guys, I think we should speed up a little bit because I'm waiting for our guests to come. So you ready? So the first guest who's gonna come is Anthony Yoon. Yeah, please come. Take a seat. Take a seat here. Yeah, we're gonna sit first. Hi, Anthony. Let's start
here, no?
So Anthony is the BD at FTX. He's also advisor in the Project Serum. So majority of you guys know FTX. FTX is a cryptocurrency derivative exchange which is booming right now. Just recently completed the investment round for 900 million.
900 million was over the summer, and then we did a 420 million, 690,000 round.
Exactly. And the valuation of the company right now is huge. And I do believe it's really worth of it because FTX is booming, it's performing very well. And I also know that you guys have another entity which called Alameda Research. And Alameda Research, quite a seasoned investor as well to the different projects.
Yeah.
So probably you can start, with a short intro of your background.
Alameda Research started off as a market maker back in 2017. Initially started off by arbing the kimchi premium and the Japanese yen trade. Eventually evolved into more of a quant firm and kind of finding market neutral bets. And then last year, the team started going more directional, took some longer term investment bets. Obviously Solana is a big one that people are familiar with. And myself, I occasionally dabble on the Alameda venture side, particularly on the token side. We have done a lot of investments in the Solana ecosystem. We recently launched our venture arm on the equity side as well. So we've been investing in fintech.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Anthony, we'll continue. I just need to invite more guests.
Sure.
It's not only like two of us. Okay, so the next guest I want to invite here is Christophe Curzon. He's the co-founder and CEO of the Menzies Capital. and former CEO of Olim Capital. Please take a seat.
Anthony, nice to meet you. Pleasure.
Yeah, so Christoph, would you mind to say a couple of words about your background, where you invest, and what's your current position?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I started one of the first European blockchain fund in Luxembourg. It was the first registered fund by the CSSF, which is the SEC locally, and so it was in 2017. But we were doing a lot of investment in equity, a little bit in tokens, but just private sales stuff, very early. And now we launched another fund called Mensis Capital. One part is in Singapore, investing just in liquid assets, and the other part is in Dubai, and we're doing direct investments in early stage companies. We like early stage. Yeah.
Okay.
But now, well, with Olim Capital, it was a real fund. When I'm saying real fund, with LPs, etc. So we were managing money of others, and now we're managing our money. So it's way more easier. No investment committee that take too long to take decisions, etc.
So I want to introduce one more guest for panel discussion today. It's Gary Zmudze. He's executive director of Longevity Science Foundation and also a general partner in Longevity. Hi, Gary. Welcome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Gary, please take a seat and just give us a small introduction of yourself.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure to be here. I'm representing a biotech here, and I'm an early investor in a couple of unicorns in biotech that use artificial intelligence for drug discovery, and we have a venture fund that invests in age-related diseases and in longevity field. And here I represent the Longevity Science Foundation, which is a non-profit based in Switzerland, as is focused in issuing grants and non-dilutive funding for early-stage longevity research.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming. So we start with the first question. So what is alternative investment? What do you think, Anthony? How do you see
the portfolio
how do you
manager
see
here?
It? So how do you see it from your side?
Alternative investments?
Yes.
We would say we look at alternative investments as things that are further down the risk curve. Cryptocurrency is obviously an alternative investment, pretty much as far down the risk curve as you can get. But what we're seeing with the recent bull run of the past year and a half is a lot more interest in allocation into crypto. I think the interest in the space has definitely been growing across retail as well as institutions, and there are some serious conversations now where pretty much everyone is looking to at least allocate a little bit of their portfolio into crypto and bucket it under the alternative investment strategy.
Right, so talking about alternative investments, of course, obviously, all of us think about cryptocurrency, right? So continuing my question, so why investors invest in cryptocurrencies, especially from the traditional background like you guys? Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to say anything about what he said because I didn't hear shit. So it's very difficult to hear each other.
I'll turn towards you.
Well, I think more and more from traditional background, it makes sense because you diversify your portfolio, your investments, and actually, I think that NFTs is very good to open doors right now to mainstream adoptions because it's very easy to understand for anyone. When you see some 13-year-old kid trading NFTs, understanding finance, DeFi, and everything, when adults doesn't understand anything of it, I think it opens doors to a lot of things, and so you make it legit, and so we can, and then you have some companies like Facebook, right? We can think whatever we want about what they are doing, but it's a good signal. It means that there is really something, right? But they're not talking about blockchain and crypto. They're just saying Metaverse for now.
Right, absolutely agree with you. That it's a good signal. It's a confirmation that the direction of the next development will be in that side. So, what do you think, Gary?
We believe that crypto community and longevity community both are visionaries in a way. So we kind of happy to announce a marriage of longevity and crypto, and we believe that crypto community can support research and to help all of us to live longer and better life. So I think that's the best thesis, and I can see here medium age is like 35 to 40 years old. So we have 20 or maybe 20, 30 years to, so we don't have a lot of time to get feasible results in longevity. So we are happy to collaborate all together to make a lifespan longer. And so we all have happy.
Right. So in that way, how do you compare the traditional investments and cryptocurrency investments?
I believe that in our field, crypto investors, they make quicker decisions. We can avoid all the communication with traditional banks that usually got too much questions and processes. And actually, we have our venture fund is first in the world to accept crypto payments from our LPs as well.
Right. Anthony, what do you think about it? If we compare cryptocurrencies and traditional investments, what's the difference?
Crypto is significantly more volatile than traditional assets. And I think part of that volatility was what kind of kept institutional investors, institutional firms out of the space for a long time. Essentially, the risk tolerance of crypto natives versus traditional investors is significantly different. And then just from a compliance perspective as well, the risk limits that you have to hit in a traditional fund is a little bit different. But I think part of the volatility, you have to be able to stomach that in order to get the exponential returns that you see in crypto. Something that we notice when we're talking to funds is crypto funds denominate their returns in terms of X's, where traditional funds denominate their returns in percentage terms. So.
Right.
Volatility is just part of the journey.
Christoph, do you have something to add for this question? If you compare cryptocurrency and traditional investments.
Well, I think it's right. It's way more volatility over there, and when you believe that, like 8 months ago, because someone is doing a tweet, we're all losing 30% in a day. There is an issue, right, for traditional investors on this. So it needs to get matured. With sustainable projects. I think that all the initiatives about CBDC around the world, they might give a good signal, but at the end of the day, they will centralize everything exactly like banks. So the only thing that is going to change is that the mechanism of, for example, sending money somewhere, right? I won't have to wait until someone is going behind a computer sending money after 4 days if I have a public holiday, right? So it will be instant. But otherwise, it will be still the same thing again and again and again. So I think it's really a niche thing, and yeah. But there is a big difference between investing in the technology, using a crypto, and investing in the crypto is two different worlds. And this is why actually we created two different companies to invest in it, because it's completely different. It's not the same expertise.
Right.
But I think it makes a lot of sense for any investors to invest in a blockchain company, because it's behind almost everything, right now.
Right. I think it's a very interesting point about, the market are different. Cryptocurrency itself is just like a stock for the, let's say, like a stock market. It doesn't really show exactly the technology behind that. It's just a price indication of the, let's say, probably success of the company in the social media or something like that. But for the real technology, yeah, I think it's a very good point. So do you guys think that institutional money is still on the very early stage of the adoption of understanding how to invest to how we call it here, alternative investments, or let's say cryptocurrencies. So what do you think about the stage of the involvement?
Well, I think you need to take countries by countries or region of the world, because I do believe that in the US it started a little bit, but in Europe I don't see that much as real like family offices or private banks. Private banks are not even considering it. They're checking just about custody solutions, because now they do have some clients who own a lot of cryptos and they're rich, but otherwise no one wants to be exposed on this, especially when you have a private bank who's running the company for the last 400 years, right? So they're not going to change the model just because for a few years you have a hype and there is something like, I don't know, $2 trillion. This is nothing for them, right? So, but it makes sense for alternative investment to put, I don't know, 1% here. But then you need some institutional products. So Grayscale is doing this kind of thing.
Right, right. Anthony, what do you think about this?
I think when you look at like alternative investments, it can be bucketed, and like institutional investors can have separate buckets as well. Like for example, pension funds aren't aping into shitcoins right now, but they do have allocations for alternative investments, which are like hedge funds, private equity vehicles, and we are seeing a lot of hedge funds entering the space. We're seeing a lot of hedge funds in the US spinning up venture arms to try to get more exposure into the space. Silicon Valley institutions is spinning up crypto firms like A16Z, or even like in the FTX's latest round, you saw a lot of traditional Silicon Valley investors kind of investing in the infrastructure of the space. But you know, when it comes to like looking at alternative investments, as you mentioned, like it's completely separate between you know, investing in like the equity, the infrastructure versus the tokens themselves. And we are seeing a lot more family offices who are comfortable on the equity side of deals, but not necessarily holding tokens on their balance sheet. So would say like the tokens in themselves, it's much more like hedge funds who are more comfortable kind of moving up and down the risk curve that are in tokens. But even like hedge funds who are used to trading systematic products in traditional markets, which, you know, pretty much you can just systematize everything. They're finding that in crypto, you have to be incredibly discretionary because the market is still very inefficient and it's still disjointed. And finding that crypto natives still have tremendous alpha over these institutions when it comes to picking discretionary things. Also simply because like the size of portfolios of traditional institutions is so much larger. So the game in which they can play, like they can't ape 100K into shitcoins on Uniswap, but they can play, you know, BTC, ETH, Solana now, which is the top 5 coins. So yeah, it really just depends on what you're looking at.
All right. Gary, what's your point on
Yeah, look, I represent here one of the most conservative biotech, and they're not very tolerant to crypto yet, especially big players. So here, with our project and the other projects in the field for crypto, like for example Vita DAO and Longevity Science Foundation, we are trying to fill this gap of early research. And as we treat aging as a disease, we're gonna put more money to get in 5 years feasible results here. So I want to say that institutional players in our field, they are completely intolerant to crypto, and I don't know when it's gonna change. And this is one of the most, I would say, industries that will be last to join the movement.
You want to add something?
Yeah, I think it's just been interesting as well, like sitting on the exchange side as well as the investing side. Like when these traditional institutions were in crypto, like there's a meme a year ago, right? They're only going to look at Bitcoin. They're only going to trade Bitcoin. And that was true. Like when the grayscale trade was happening, we saw a lot of institutions, they were simply interested in the basis trade on BTC futures. A couple months later, they started asking us about ETH. You know, same time as like all the Tether FUD was happening in January. And then like they started asking about Solana, Polkadot, kind of moving down the stack. And now, like, I was speaking with an institutional investor the other day, and he was asking about Flocky, and I had no idea what he was talking about. So I had to look it up. So, you know, still relatively early, but the capital is flowing into the space. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see this trend. My next question to Gary. So you are from a biotech company, and you invest into the biotech as well. So how you see cryptocurrency involved in the biotech industry already, and how you foresee it for the nearest future, let's say?
One of our first projects where we use blockchain technology in biotech is a company called Longenesis that we co-founded together with Bitfury. And actually this company helps to speed up, to onboard patients for clinical trials, and that saves a lot of time and money. So that's not directly involved the cryptocurrencies itself, but the blockchain technology fits very well here. But talking about cryptocurrencies, we were the first VC fund in longevity field to accept crypto from our LPs, as well as Longevity Science Foundation is ready to support early stage longevity research with the donations from crypto community. So I think here we can do great things together.
All right, interesting. So my next question to all of you guys as well. So how do you think institutional money will impact on crypto? So it's already coming in. We see probably the first wave or the second wave. It's up to you how to count it. But overall, so is it good impact for all of us who've been in crypto for a while, or what do you think? So maybe we start here with Christoph.
Well, I think it's going to have two impacts, major. First, way more money in the space, which is a good thing, right, at first. But it means way more regulation all over the globe as well. Pushing, doing lobbying with governments, central banks, because at some point they won't be able to raise the money of their clients, which they are not LPs, right? They are traditional people, right? So we'll see what happens, but the more and more we'll get in, and the more and more is going to be complicated.
Yeah.
I think we should enjoy it for the next 5 years, you know?
Yeah. Of course, it's about long-term perspective, but maybe additional question, exactly what you're saying. So you said it's going to be more regulated. So in that end, do you think it's good or bad? Because regulation still is like,
Well, the problem is that I think it's a good thing in a lot of cases, especially when it's really good business, sustainable business that can make a real difference. So I think it's a good thing that at some point there is some rules. But when you have too much regulation, you can also break completely a space.
Maybe.
And at some point, when you have regulation, look, if you start by having CBDC, right, all over the globe, and then you have regulation on startups who every time they're launching a token, then it's controlled, centralized, and so it's a little bit different.
Okay. What do you think?
On regulations or like the impact of institutional capital?
No. Impact first.
Okay. Because I think Sam should be the one talking about regulations. Yeah, in terms of like the impact of more institutional capital coming to this space, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think some of the other things that you're going to see as well, and we're already seeing this, is early stage valuations are getting pushed up because there's a lot of new players in the space that don't necessarily know how to do DD and are relatively valuation agnostic. And so, we're already kind of starting to see like seed rounds with just a white paper, 75 to 100 mil in certain ecosystems. Overall, though, I do agree. Like the having more capital in the space is a good thing. It means more projects get funded. It means there's funds and players who are willing to kind of seed the later stage rounds of crypto firms that most crypto funds I know are like very early stage and aren't willing to go down the stack to like Series C and Series D. And having players like SoftBank and ACC&Z who can kind of help them with projects as they get traction. I think it's like an overall positive development for the space. I think on the fund side, like it's going to create an interesting dynamic where there is now so much capital entering the space. A lot of funds could get away with just being generalists over the last couple of years and just providing capital, essentially saying I'm a value-added investor, not picking up the phone after the initial investment, and having built a reputation. I think going forward, funds that actually do provide value and the projects are shouting from the roofs to work with these funds, like that is going to be, you're going to see a lot of more discernment from great founders going forward, because just they can get capital anywhere, but getting value-add investors is difficult. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I do believe it's interesting point of view, like, you know, from your side, because you've been communicating with majority of the like crypto funds at least, and
yeah. I mean, even just speaking with like portfolio companies, for example, like I think there's pretty much uniformly when we speak with projects and they speak about what investors have impressed you the most. Like we hear Delphi Digital a lot,
yeah.
And you know, Delphi Digital is not just an investment firm. They have a research arm, they have an in-house studio, and you know, they essentially help projects think through everything from tokenomics to go-to-market strategy. And you know, I don't necessarily think like that's the only way to add value. I think there's, you know, ways to add value through distribution, PR, marketing. But I do think there will be more funds that go hyper niche in terms of what they focus on or help projects on, and projects are going to look towards these specific funds to add value within specific markets or, you know, different areas of expertise.
So what you're saying is about like funds, they also need to build an ecosystem around them.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Gary,
we're seeing that this
what do
year.
you think about institutional money, how it impacts the crypto industry?
I believe the more institutional money will be into the industry, the more we all will benefit from this. So, and you know, setting up the entity in Switzerland, we can see that more and more banks are ready to deal with crypto, to open crypto accounts, and the more tools in traditional investors will have, the better and the bigger impact will be on the whole industry. That's my take.
Right. So as you mentioned, like some Swiss banks and some traditional guys, they going to invest to crypto. I think after just recent news about like ETF was approved by the SEC, and just after that, the first pension fund also started to buy in the Bitcoin, which I definitely think is a good sign for the industry.
I think also institutional capital entering the space, there's a reverse impact to it as well. Like I think yesterday or the day before, we saw Matt Huang
Swiss banks is a no-go
from Paradigm, like joining Stripe's board of directors, which is, you know, really great for adoption. And I think we're going to start seeing more of that. Like as Visa has entered the space in a big way, you know, more of these institutions looking at crypto also means they're going to help with the mainstream adoption of crypto.
Right. So Anthony, we continue with you. What do you think from your perspective? What's the biggest concern from the institutional investor to enter the crypto?
From which angle? Like on the trading side or like the investment side?
Why they still concerning, like, you know, to get into the crypto space or not? So what's the biggest concern from?
Tether. No. But you'd be surprised, like, how much time we do spend with, you know, people, newer institutions trading on FTX, kind of combating the Tether FUD. And we actually have a guy on our team who used to be at Bitfinex. So, you know, he's been really great in helping institutions understand that. I think it depends. On the exchange side, there's just like certain things that you have to do in due diligence, like having a custodian, for example, and then just getting their chief compliance officers comfortable with them trading on exchanges that, you know, are kind of operating across multiple jurisdictions. On the investment side, you know, probably Christoph has much better insight in terms of some of the barriers for institutional capital coming into the crypto.
I'm sorry, because I heard just half of it. So.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so we still need to keep our conversation going, right? So what I'm saying here,
I should turn to you.
From your side, Christoph.
Yeah.
So how do you think? What's the a good choice for the institutional investors?
A good choice for?
Good choice for the institutional investors to invest to the cryptocurrency. So what's the best timing for them? Do you think now is the good time, or they should probably wait for?
Well, I don't think it's a problem of timing. I mean, you had great projects 3 years ago. You have every year some good projects. The problem for them is, finding the right deal flow, right? I think for someone from the outside, it's impossible. I mean, to get in at the right moment. If you want to be early in a company, I mean, I don't know, if you're not in the space, I don't know how you're going to get the deck. It's impossible. And if you see him on stage, he's already done. So, so I think they need to, either way, they need to wait until you have a Series B, right? And then they start getting in, or they need to do the fun process, I think. Because otherwise, it's almost impossible. Or you dedicated one team just doing this, but those people, if you don't hire people from the space already, I mean, it took us, all of us, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years to know everyone in the space, right? And you have the new one. I am the oldest in the space now.
Right, but at the same time, I mean, talking, keep the conversation with you. I know that you're quite interested in NFT and Metaverse space.
Yeah.
So do you think for the institutional money, this is the entry point?
Well, if you take family offices, they will check very fast because they own something like 30% of all the art in the world, right? And so on this point of view, yeah, it makes sense for them to really check, especially when you have companies like Christie's doing some auctions for CryptoPunks and stuff like this. They really need to understand what is going on here. Otherwise, investing in NFT projects has a game or has a whatever, same thing.
So, I mean, is it easier for them to understand NFT as, let's say, like a piece of digital art, or Metaverse is something like which is trending and which is going to be
Well, it's very
something
easy,
big?
like I was saying
Rather than
earlier.
cryptocurrencies, like, let's say, Ether or whatever, like...
No, but at some point they understand why there is value behind something, etc. Sometimes, look, it's not really different than any gallery around the world. I mean, there is some artists, we don't know who they are, and in 2 weeks from now, the painting that was $100 is going to cost 10K just because one guy bought it for the gallery and they're pushing the artist, and that's it. Same thing with some stuff. Even if you have some specific things in a picture on NFTs, I think it's exactly the same process, exactly the same thing. I don't think that we are just, I mean, NFTs and blockchain, they are not just, they are just improving something that already exists, right?
Right. So, Anthony, what do you think about it? So, isn't NFT Metaverse is, let's say, for institutional money, for institutional guys, easier to understand, to invest, or still, you know?
I think gaming as like a means towards mainstream crypto adoption is a good narrative. But if you're talking about kind of investing into tokens, I still think just because it's NFTs or gaming doesn't necessarily mean they're going to invest into tokens. Like they might invest in gaming studios, they might invest in some of the infrastructure on the equity side, but kind of aping into tokens themselves is still a little bit different. But I do think just from a mainstream adoption standpoint, NFTs and gaming are significantly easier to understand than Yearn Finance, for example.
Yep.
But we're seeing institutional investors look at decentralized finance. On our side, like we see all the research reports from the sell side bulge brackets, and they're all publishing research reports on things like SushiSwap, Solana, Serum, and so they're definitely looking at it. Whether or not they're actually investing in them is a different story. But I just think crypto as a whole is hitting the point where institutions are looking at it and trying to understand the different subsectors and think about where to allocate capital.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example. So you have Sami here, just here, this guy. So he's the CEO of Cross the Ages, right?
Right.
You can hear his keynote just after, I think. So it's NFT gaming, collectible cards, etc. I am one of the investors, and this is the first time I'm taking an operational thing in it. So I'm very active. They are closing the fundraising right now. The only thing that they are looking for is strategic investors. They don't care that a big family office is going to come because it's not going to bring anything on the table for this game. So it's very specific investor that we are looking for, and this is a very good example because it will never go to a traditional investor. What for? And money is not an issue those days, right? So
Exactly, I think it's a good point. And the same like Anthony mentioned before, so each fund also needs to build ecosystem around them to be very valuable for the projects they help in, to bring additional value, to help them to grow.
Smart money, and
rather
also,
than family office, what they can do, they can only give money and.
But it's very important because everyone is aligned. I mean, on a traditional fund, right? Even in tech funds, right?
Okay.
They don't really help you. They're going to open doors, maybe. Okay, you want to talk to this guy? Okay, let me send an email, right?
Right.
But that's it. That's it. So they're not going to help you with the strategy. They're not going to help you with the tokenomics. They're not going to help you to hire people, to understand the space. Sami is not coming from blockchain at all. He's developing games for the last 10 years. So he didn't know anything about blockchain. Now he knows everything. But you know, so he needed some people that can help. And what better than an investor to do so?
Nice. Gary, how is it biotech? So is it the same, or what's the like difference in your industry? Or maybe you can share some.
Look, I believe that the biggest barrier for adoption of anything like cryptocurrencies or like industry shaping tech, like AI for drug discovery in pharma, etc. It can be only credible and universally recognized. It should demonstrate universal down-to-earth value. So this is important because in many cases this is technology for technology.
Right. So we're running out of time, and I have the last question for the day. Let's talk a little bit about regulations. So how
about
regulations?
Okay.
So from your point of view, from your own personal experience, like running your companies, guys, how regulated the cryptocurrency space now, and how difficult or easy to operate at the moment? Yeah, Christoph, you can be first.
I have my own experience with this.
Right.
The only reason why we went in 2017 in Luxembourg to launch a fund is not because it was easy, because they are not crypto friendly at all. They are still not, right? It has been a pain in the ass to launch this fund. I spent 12 months trying to launch this fund. Money, no money, this is not the point. And in Europe, it's probably the most expensive country for all the regulation, lawyers, etc. So. But the bet we did back then is that, okay, we believe that traditional investors, institutionals, will jump into it. We thought it will be earlier, but it wasn't the case. And this is why we went in Luxembourg. So why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because I think that it starts by the investment. So giving the possibility for them to be exposed on crypto in a fund, I think is a very good thing at first, but the regulator doesn't care. It doesn't care because when you are a fund, I mean, you're not managing enough, like, especially in a country like Luxembourg, even if you're managing 1 billion, they don't care about you. And either way, it was Luxembourg or Malta, right? And then you are very exotic. So you don't have a real balance. And then if you go, for example, I'm French, if you go to Paris and you talk with the IMF, it's going to take you 6 months just talking with them. So it's very difficult. And so I think they should short the process with this and at least regulating the investment, being able to get LPs with crypto. We have been able to do so in Olam Capital, but we had to do a partnership with Bitstamp over there. It was a nightmare of process, and the banks doesn't understand anything. Right. So yeah, regulation is, I think it's important.
So timing is a big problem.
But on the investment side, at first, I mean, we need to start with something. The problem is that the governments and the European Commission, if I'm talking about Europe, they are just talking about the people, retails, right? They're thinking about how they're going to tax a guy who owns 5 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right. Anthony, what do you think about that?
Oof. At FTX, we've always taken the stance of working with and cooperating with local regulators and consistently speaking with them. You know, we'll just say the regulators are also trying to figure it out. Crypto is a space that moves incredibly quickly. There's new innovations coming out on a daily basis, and it's not necessarily easy to kind of work through all that, even when you're native to the space, let alone just trying to learn about it. So Yeah, just
keep going, right? But the same,
no more comment.
continuing like what Christoph said, like timing, getting the license is a very complicated process, but crypto is running so fast. I mean, you have the good projects like, appearing, maybe not every day, but
Solana.
Right. And this is quite a big problem, how to manage these like two different systems. Gary, if you have something to say.
Yes, I think in our case in Switzerland, everything is over-regulated. We have to pass each of our donators through the KYC/AML procedures. We need to screen his wallet from where he sends the funds. 9 out of 10 banks, they don't want to deal with us because we are focusing on accepting both fiat and crypto donations. So there's a long way to be widely accepted. So.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, our speakers.
Thanks.
That's all for our panel today. Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Speaking.
Thank you very much for these beautiful panel discussions. The next one up is an online keynote speech from James Shu, the CTO of PlatON. And the title of the keynote speech will be PlatON, the Trustless Artificial Intelligence Network. Enjoy. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is James Q from PlatON, LatexX Foundation. It's my pleasure today to have this chance to speak here, and would like to start with our slogan, Let's Compute. First of all, what is LatexX? LatexX has its vision to build a large-scale distributed network supporting the economy activities and any business applications where users can recognize the sovereignty and privacy of their own data. And there will be an ecosystem inside with sophisticated computing technologies for value of data and the benefits generated beyond. No need to mention how important data is for this digital era. Just would like to highlight one thing. All data rights are computed. Data protection done by computation. Data silos collaborate through computation. That is why we need compute. Also, this is where LatexX slogan comes from. Let's talk about our mission. So our mission is to build it up, build a high-efficiency trustless computing network, as we explained it back in 2018 in PlatON 1.0 white paper. There is a keyword called verifiable computation, which is the fundamental and crucial piece to form this trustless computing network. You may find we have delivered research papers on cryptography, sample products of MPC, protocols on ecosystem, a already live PlatON mainnet, open source privacy AI framework Rosetta, etc. That's all the verifiable results from PlatON. In my view, I would like to expand this concept to a verifiable ecosystem as well, which means network technology ecosystem deliveries should also be verifiable. So our core ecosystem is, as you can tell, PlatON. And we have accelerator fund for developers, which identify, incubate, and accelerate promising startups, projects, teams, and individuals that serve the fundamental development of LatexX ecosystem, which is PlatON, in line with our vision. It's quite challenging to work on privacy-preserving dApps due to dramatic increasing of computing complexity and network traffic complexity, etc. Looking forward to have great but brave developers to join us. We also have academic fund which support in-depth research, particularly in the fields of cryptography, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, as well as some subject matters such as economics and regulations. We facilitate community engagement at international events, conferences, workshops, and meetups to enhance the global awareness of LaTeX, PlatON, encourage collaboration at greater scale, and make LaTeX accessibility to everyone and everything, mainly through PlatON. So PlatON is the decentralized, privacy-preserving AI network. And there is another one called Alaya, the meta network of PlatON, which is the prototype and a business sandbox for the next generation, mainly focusing financial infrastructure. Since we believe financial data is the most easy data to start with. LaTeX Forum, in other view, provides a platform to unite the community members who strive to realize PlatON or LaTex's vision and promote the communication and information sharing among them. Let me talk a bit more about PlatON. As I mentioned, PlatON is the core infrastructure for implementing the LaTex's concept. PlatON is focusing on combining blockchain and privacy-preserving computation technologies, building a decentralized and collaborative AI network, and global brain for safe artificial general intelligence, the so-called AGI. Since we published the PlatON white paper 1.0 3 years back in 2018, we were emphasizing trustless computing, and we delivered mainnet with core functions in place. So how about the future? Moving forward, based on newly published PlatON white paper 2.0 and PlatON privacy preserving computation white paper, we are working on and rolling out below things. First of all, part 1, privacy preserving computation framework, which has, number 1, fundamental cryptography algorithm libraries. I will not go through the details here. Please refer to our paper published on Medium. Number 2 is the protocols and their implementations on payment, like privacy payment, computation, as well as storage, like the privacy protected and verifiable storage. On top of this protocols, number 3, there will be a easy to use computation services and storage services for data protection and collaboration. And at the most top, number 4, as verifiable dApps, there are sample applications of DEX, DAO, NFT, game, etc. coming. Remember, a few months back, we kicked it off global trusted seed generation campaign called Vino. It's a global collaboration relay of different parties for a truly trusted seed. Then I will explain part 2, which is PlatON 2.0, a decentralized privacy-preserving AI network, which has, number 1, secure and scalable consensus network with our Giscard consensus algorithm, hosted formal verification. Number 2, privacy-preserving computation network deals with basic elements such as data, algorithm, and arithmetic power. Data nodes and computing nodes can be connected to the privacy-preserving computation network through P2P protocol to publish data, algorithm, and arithmetic power. And algorithms then can run with data using computing power. And number three, on the very top layer will be a collaborative AI network using the data sets and computing power of privacy-preserving computation networks. AI models can be trained, developed, and then deployed, and even can be a service for others, forming an AI service market. Through technologies such as multi-agent system, AI agent can operate independently and communicate and collaborate with each other to create more and more innovative AI services, enabling AI DAO and forming
Hi, everyone. We are ready for the next panel discussion, which will be hosted by Alex from Cryptomeria, who is the capital managing partners. Please help me welcome him on stage, and he will announce the panel speakers that's going to be joining him for a second. Also wanted to remind you, if we can be respectful to each other's space and talk a little quieter so we hear better at the stage, that would be great. Thank you.
Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're doing good. So my name is Alex. I'm managing partner of Cryptomeria Capital, and I'm super excited to see all of you here in this event, which is organized by Cryptomeria Capital in cooperation with our good friends from Cointelegraph and Cointelegraph China. So Lisbon today as, let's say, unofficial headquarters for all crypto guys in the world. It's kind of epicenter of crypto and blockchain. So that's why we decided to have this naming, epicenter of this event. So we live in a strange time. Right now there are so many uncertainty in macroeconomy. There are so many crazy money, helicopter money, and there are so many startups which are fighting for their place in the market. So in this panel, we'll discuss what's crypto unicorn, how to find it, or even how to create it. And I wanna introduce you our guests. They are founders and representatives of great projects with real value, and what's common, all of them are our portfolio companies. So I would like to start with Nick. He is Chief Operating Officer of Metamundo. Hey Nick, take a seat. So these guys are going to create a great project which will let 3D model creators upload their works across metaverses via the one entry point. So the second one is Erwin. Erwin represents DeFi Lander. Hey man. So they are going to gamify DeFi on Solana. And well, guys, it's not investment advice, but I do believe they will disrupt. They will definitely disrupt GameFi industry. And the last but not least, he's co-founder of great project Parsec, and my personal friend, Martin. Martin, come on stage. Hey, man. So these guys are really geeks. They are going to create a super tool to grab data from number of blockchains. And right now, I believe we can start. So guys, the first question is super simple. From your perspective, right now, today, what the main difference of the crypto unicorns in comparison with previous market cycles? So probably Nick can start.
Well, if I look at what crypto unicorns are, I think we have to look at that a billion now after the pandemic is maybe not as much as well before. So is that actually still a big company? Should we not look at like 10-icorns, like 10x? So I think the companies need much bigger ambitions to make that difference.
Makes sense. Cool. So probably, guys, you would like to add something?
Yeah, I believe that right now the crypto projects are the next billion-dollar companies are more focused on the user experience and trying to provide a way better user experience than before. Because previous times they were only focused on functionality and usability. Right now we're just focused on the user experience. That's a king basically. If we don't focus on the user experience, we don't have a massive adoption. So I believe the next unicorns and already they are focusing on the user experience, and that's the biggest difference we see right now.
Yeah, perfect. I have a few things to add. So I think before, the companies who became unicorns basically became unicorns because of dumb people who are just buying on the highs. That's it, So now I think it's changing a lot because the scope of the projects they're much more serious. There is much more now adoption here, and people are. I'm not saying they're less dumb. There's obviously a lot of Binance apes and all this stuff, but yeah, I mean, I think right now we're getting into, let's say, a heavy competition between different protocols, between different projects, and then yeah, I think right now the unicorns are much different, right? So now we see Binance at 100 billion just BNB, So it's not about just being now a unicorn. It's about being a decacorn plus. Unicorn is normal, If you're a unicorn, it doesn't matter much. So I think that's what's changed now.
Good point. So, actually, I do believe a lot of our visitors, a lot of our users who right now watch this panel online in the West and in the Asia, they're super curious about what's common, what's the main key factor in each unicorn. I do understand it's impossible to create a ready-to-go strategy how to create a unicorn tomorrow, but probably you can highlight some points from your point of view.
So I didn't get the question completely.
What's common in number of unicorns?
So what's common in across unicorns?
Yeah.
Well, I think they all solve a real problem and actually have a really good hiring strategy because you need good people. So for me, it's about market and people.
Cool.
Focus.
Cool. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I believe that nowadays on crypto, what you need to get the unicorn company, I believe, is a team. So if you have a right team with the right technical experience, you're going to get to that point where you're just going to build this product that people are going to really love. And if you are just kind of solving the real problem that people really have, that's the vision. But I believe as time goes, it will be becoming more and more difficult to become a unicorn. I hope so, and I believe that the biggest priority will be the community. So if you orient on the community and build for them, then you're going to become a unicorn for sure. But for now, I believe the team is the main factor for now.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to add a few things, right? So I think most of the common factor is that now people really found the utility of their tokens. Let's say if they have a token. So yeah, I mean, there was no utility before, right? People wanted to exchange tokens between each other. Like, let's say they wanted to pay for the service, and that means at the end of the day, people would dump. So I think now the tokenomics are really forming up, and it's getting into the real cool thing. Second thing, I think, yeah, like, as you guys mentioned, user experience is key. People go there where it's most easiest to actually, use something. But actually that doesn't stop, right? So I mean, most of actually guys in crypto, they're using some weird services, they're doing crazy DeFi across multiple platforms, and it doesn't stop from them moving, let's say like on Saber, Saber that is on Solana. right? So there was another company that launched was Sunny, and it didn't stop people moving $4 billion in 2 days. Yep. So I think the tech is just better now, but it's just the beginning. DeFi is just we're still kids who play games basically, and now we're into NFTs and gaming. So we're back to the games. So that's I think the common denominator now.
Cool. So actually, the next question I have specific for you, Martin. So from your perspective, what's the key point in cooperation between the founder and an investor to create a unicorn? Because I do believe there is a common point, and all of us agree. Investors, smart money, play a significant role in creating and scaling unicorn. So what's your point on it?
So being a founder, it's much more different, and you need to segregate it, those two things, because being an investor, you can a lot of value, you can bring the projects to the right people, and everybody knows in crypto everything works basically through the handshake. But being a founder, even being an investor, I will not ask people or my friends to invest. If they want, they will know what we're doing. I will give them opportunity. For example, we launched a new protocol. So yeah, being a founder, it's much more difficult to move. Being an investor, everybody loves money, right? So I think the number one key thing that when you're a founder, you just need to keep building, and that's it. And once your tech is good, everybody will follow. Being an investor, you need to, in order to get into the rounds, you need to be let's say, as you mentioned, very smart money. So if you help the project out initially, then later on it will just outperform you, and then you will benefit from them. So that's my vision.
Okay, Nick, would you like to add something?
I think it's mainly about making good introductions and also helping to forge good strategic partnerships with investors that know your angle. So it costs a lot of time to actually network and identify that. And I would say introductions and partnerships is definitely a top one for me.
Yeah, and I probably would like to add something as well.
Yeah, I believe nowadays just raising money is not that hard. Just everyone can raise some money. So just finding the really good investors, that's a really big problem. So I believe if you find the investor who is just gonna help you develop, and he's not just looking for a short-term token dumping basically, then the investor is none less important than the founder, because they can be really, really helpful, and we're experiencing that with our investors as well. So I'm really happy. I believe that the investors and the founders are same kind of important for the project to be successful.
Cool. So actually, I had number of small talks before our panel with our guests, and I do know there are a number of founders, and some of them, they're in a super, super early stage. So yeah, advice to find the smart money is good, but how to identify this smart money? Guys, you're founders, so probably any advice to our guests?
I mean, I can add. So usually people go to conferences to meet about 1,000 people, and at the end of the day, they don't talk. Just find 1-2 guys and just talk with them deeply, and definitely one or two guys will know somebody else, right? So I don't like events, to be honest, but Solana event is great, and your guys' event is great. So thanks for hosting. But yeah, just go deep with conversations, right? So I mean, that's what I think matters.
Nick, your point.
Sorry, the acoustic didn't allow me to hear your question. So
how to find the smart money? How to identify a really good investor?
I think you need to understand what kind of investor you need to help you, and also understand what partnerships you need before you reach out. So is that investor really gonna help you beside money, or does that investor not customer you're trying to serve?
Nice. So Erwin, I know you have pretty strong cap table. So what was your secret? Please share with us.
Yeah, actually, most of the projects are basically raising from 5-6 investors, but we have raised nearly from 50 different investors, including some bigger exchanges, funds, and stuff like that. So I believe we have been offered the money since the beginning, And we were so happy that we were just trying to gather everyone. But then we thought that we could really just some kind of manage, kind of balance the value that the investor brings with the amount of check we write. So let's say if we give an X amount of check to some fund, it's enough. We don't have to give them 5x amount because they're gonna bring the same amount of value. So we just kind of decided that, and we just went to kind of the average ticket size with everyone, and we just kind of managed to find all different investors from the gaming, exchanges, different. And we're really happy with the results. So I would recommend for everyone who is raising some funds to just get some initial funding, which just will help them to develop the MVP or just gonna get some at some certain point, and then just gonna go and just go directly and reach out to directly the investors they would love to see in their cap table, not just the people who are just advertising and they just are promising they're gonna give you this, that. Just go to them who you really like and you really believe. So I believe that the gut feeling is the best feeling in this industry for sure to raise the money.
By the way, yeah, sorry. By the way, yeah, we're looking to get into Metamundo, so
yep.
We'll talk after.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to.
Well, so I believe right now everyone understands there are so many noise around new tracks, yeah, in our industry. For example, Metaverse and others. So guys, from your perspective, and let's say next year or next 3 years, where we will see new unicorns? Because we are investors, where we should find it?
I would say we see a lot more action in the games. So the gamify, learn to earn, play to earn. Metaverse is, I think, a very big wave with maybe smaller things in it. Hopefully also in the architect sphere, so building the metaverses inside. And I would say insurance is, I think, also a big one, because we need a lot of safety, I think, to build this domain out.
I believe, yeah, I believe in gamification, NFTs, DeFi, as like we're building that. But I don't really like that everyone is calling every different project the Metaverse, because nowadays Metaverse is basically just a multiplayer. So if someone is building a multiplayer game, they are calling that Metaverse and bringing some NFTs in it. So I'm not really a big fan of it. But definitely, I agree that the Metaverse has really long way to go, but it's definitely the future. And the Facebook move to the Meta, it's really, really big step for sure. And I believe that we're going to see a huge improvements towards that. But also, I believe that we should more adapt to the kind of way that people are already familiar of using products like the subscriptions, the kind of insurance and stuff like that. That's really important, because we won't be DeFi or NFTs won't go mainstream if we don't bring them easily or just really affordably to the community. So I believe that going to subscriptions and kind of to the model that people are really already aware of how to use that's the really biggest factor. And the companies that are doing that, I believe they are the next billion-dollar companies for sure.
Cool. That's actually pretty good. I kind of couldn't say it better, but I think one of the main things that is right now driving adoption is entertainment, right? So you see all these meme coins going up. But for all this stuff, first of all, in order to build, we need infrastructure. So that's always the thing. And there is so much still to build. I have more than 200 ideas, maybe 1,000 ideas, but I just don't have time to do it. So infrastructure one. Second of all, when you're talking about gamify and play to earn, what if one of these games now will fail to pay people to do something? What will happen? They will drop this. So that's not I see that as a future, but that's not the future. So what you get with the play to earn model, you just get plenty of users to jump on you, but then you will need to find new utilities to your token. And that's what I think the future is subscriptions, 100%, right? So, and based on subscriptions, you don't need to spend tokens, you need to log them, and then that's where your circulating supply shrinks and the price goes up. And then eventually project can dump if they really need to. But one of the biggest driving, one of the biggest things that I see would take off right now is esports, because esports combines in itself all the games, gaming, so entertainment, a lot of payment solutions, like part of it, gambling. So you know, all the tech adoption that comes from NVIDIA and everything comes actually from that side, right? And then now we'll see, let's say, volumetric 3D, let's say, streaming. You know, there is a lot of just it's mostly was done because of the let's say, you know, marketing or games or whatever. But like now you're getting a real actual adoption to the 3D data. And then now there's cool technologies that are basically building cool algos to not to zip the file, but you know, to compress it. So yeah, I think that's esports is the thing and place to be.
Yeah, actually I agree with you on this point. And also I do believe we can divide all startups on two obvious groups. The first one is about sustainable product, long-term vision, and really product approach. And the second group is about one-day hype machines. And it's really important not only to create unicorn, but to make it really sustainable. So from your perspective, which factor can help to be sustainable and keep it sustainable during its scalability?
Anyone has an answer?
Having a clear focus on your market, so really understanding who your customer is, and I think also having a star team on board that also understands how they operate together. So you need good operators on board, a good team.
Definitely. I believe the team is the number one. But also, like, I have a kind of different take on the kind of in-game economies or stuff like that. There are a lot of people who are trying to stressing like for several years, trying to build the best, like most stable economy in their games, in their metaverse, stuff like that. But that's not really how it works. So I believe that what you should do is just gonna start with some basics and then just adapt to the changes. Just go with the cycles and just adapt, and just look for what the community really wants, what they are really loving, improve these features, and just improve the economy by that. And I believe if you do that, then you're gonna see really growing closed economy, open economy, where you're just gonna see that the people are just gonna creating something. Let's say the people who are having a lot of time and no money, they are creating some NFTs, and the people who have time, they have some money, they are buying these NFTs. And this is circular. That's I believe, the best way to kind of think of this designing your tokenomics and your economics, basically. So yeah, that's what I think.
Cool. I mean, yeah, I think what people should do, you guys already mentioned, have a great team, be flexible with the market, right? Because the market changes and you need to adapt to it fast. You know, most of the companies that are failing, they're basically just building stuff that nobody needs. This is one of the biggest issues. And then, yeah, like after you just keep building, then, you know, just invest time into whatever makes the most, let's say, sense. That's it.
Yeah, and right now, you know, right now in this market, there is so many crazy money, helicopter money, yeah? And it's so easy to fundraise, yeah? A lot of projects, they can do it in just several minutes. But, you know, actually, it's really important to keep sustainable and long-term tokenomics. But on the other hand, founders, they have an option to have an easy money right now, right there, and just go a bank. So from your experience and your point, how to keep in mind a project which you are working on is really something long-term, yeah? It's not about fundraising, yeah? Actually, fundraising is probably 10% of the project, yeah?
1%.
Probably less, yeah. It's about products, about development and so on. How to keep in mind it?
Let me start here. So I think there is only one thing is sustainable in startups are problems, right? There is nothing sustainable at any startup. So when you ask that question, previous question, there is nothing sustainable there. The only sustainable thing is problems. And yeah, I mean, that's it.
I believe vesting is the answer. So if you don't have if you don't give the founders or the investors or advisors the kind of, let's say, 1 year of vesting, and that's really low amount. I believe if you just give them a long-term vesting, they will have to be committed and they will have to think in long-term. Because everyone just right now are having just 1 year, 2 years of vesting, and that's not really enough because they're just going to build the MVP, they're just going to put some designs out there, and then they're going to just sell all their coins, and that's it. So I believe if you really want to see the projects and products to get a really long-term vision, develop really good sustainable economy, then you really, all you need to do is to have a vesting. And then once they have a vesting, they don't have any other option to build it or just kind of drop it and just leave and just say that, okay, I cannot do that. So I believe the vesting is the answer.
Yeah.
Maybe what I would add to that is that I think you can look at your community. Is your community actually more engaging? Is your community growing? Is that continuously the case? I think you're on a good path. Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to add to that one.
Yeah, but also startups, they are mostly, probably even completely about teams. Yeah, and if you want to be a unicorn, you need to have a really star team on the board. Yeah, we have full-time engagement, passion, and really great belief. Yeah, the question is how to establish this kind of team. Well, probably this question has no answer.
I'm gonna go with the answer because I believe that I have found the team members that are really passionate about the idea. So I believe that all you need to do, because like you cannot really find the Rust developers right now, or you cannot really find the blockchain developers easily, because like if they're good, they have really huge salary and really huge fortunes. Like that's not what they are looking for. So I believe we should just kind of have, first of all, you should be passionate about the idea, not just be working from 9 to 6, just be full-time working. Once the developers see that the founders are really engaged and they are really passionate about the idea, that's a really good factor. On the other hand, if you can't find the Rust developers or whatever, go and just gonna ask your computer science friends or who are really good at algorithms or different kind of math or stuff like that. They can learn it way easier, and they can just kind of master all they need in several months. And like that's a really good way to recruit some new really good guys on blockchain, and they will be loyal to you if they are your friends basically. So that's what I have done myself. I have found some of my friends who are really good at that. They were at the International Olympiad of Informatics. They have some really good achievements, but they didn't know anything about the blockchain. But if they are talented, they just gonna learn it easily. So like there are a lot of people that are talented and they are on Web 2 focused. If you're gonna onboard them to Web 3, just give them some time. They were just gonna learn and they were just gonna make you a fortune for sure. So my theory is that if you somehow learn how to bring people with you, not just gonna develop yourself and then leave team behind. If you just somehow bring the entire team with you, that's all it takes to kind of get the really good team and just gonna become a really good company. Hopefully we're gonna manage that. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, Nick, I really know you have super great team. Yeah, all you guys are real believers in your project. What's your secret?
Well, we all know each other pretty well. I think for 10 or 12 years. Wow. So that's helping. But I think yeah, we like a good team culture, and we're actually very patient as well with newcomers, as you just said. I think creating a good culture in your company is, for me, very important, because also devs and designers, they also want to have a nice fit with the team and be passionate about the project together, and not only individually.
Cool. And yeah, right now everyone understands we live in a super decentralized world. Yeah, because of this pandemic, because of now other things. But from your perspective, from your opinion, is it important where is startup located? Is it important to be, let's say, in a well-known hub, like California, like Berlin, or it doesn't matter nowadays?
Okay, I can start then.
Go for it.
You know, to be honest, I think it's important where you're located. Because if you're going to be somewhere on the island doing nothing, and then you're going to even become successful, you don't know people around, right? You don't engage with the people. So like we have a few teams in there in Estonia or like other places, and there's not so many people who build there. There are a few people here who are actually crazy builders, and they own a lot of projects, successful projects in crypto. They are there, but like we only engage with each other. So it's very important that the guys would go out, talk to other people, because some of the OGs, they only believed into Bitcoin, and they didn't believe into Ethereum. And now, like literally, like in 2020, Ethereum is a nice thing, Like people just came out of like Shadow and now building on Solana and everything else, DeFi. Before that, didn't understand nothing about it. So I think it's super important where you're located. But in terms of the team itself, they can be all over the world. So obviously, you need to build the structure where you don't depend on the location and stuff. So I think that's my vision.
Yeah, me myself as well. So like with the team. So we didn't have any kind of physical interaction or just any kind of conference. Like we're just gonna raise our entire money online. So we didn't have any problem with that. But I believe that if we were located at some kind of places where you have all the investors, where you have all the connections out there, it might be even easier. We might have found even basically the better partners. But I believe there is no problem at all to kind of start at any location, basically. But yeah, if you just want to kind of go for the best result, yeah, definitely why we're here, I believe that's one of the reasons, because you're going to be able to kind of communicate, network with every different people you want to do. So it's way, way easier to kind of do the fundraising, get the recruiting done or whatever. So yeah, I believe it's a slight advantage to have a good location as well.
I think
you hit it on the head. Oh.
I just want to add, so you see a lot of projects that are, for example, building in Africa, but they're based out of US, and there's literally one person on a team who knows about Africa. So, and they most likely they'll just do valuation game and they get out somewhere, but at the end of the day, they fail as companies. Because, they don't engage with their audience. So if you're building for China, if you're building for Europe, go there and just be there, right? You need to be with these people every day.
Yeah. Guys, and what do you think about branding? Because I believe it's obvious, yeah? Branding and brand awareness is super, super important for businesses. But there is an opinion that it's necessary for big companies, yeah? Like sustainable big business, like Coca-Cola, like PepsiCo, and etc. Yeah? So in this market, we see a number of startups with strong focus on their product. They perform really awesome, but nobody knows about it. Is it important to invest in branding to become a unicorn? And when founder should start invest money in branding, and in what way? Nick, your point.
I couldn't hear it really well from here, so please start.
Yeah. Actually, I couldn't really hear all the details as well.
He's talking about branding, right? And when should people invest in the branding, how important it is. And yeah, you as a young startup, when is the start to do actual branding for yourself? So do you guys have an answer?
Yeah, I believe that kind of the branding is really important. If you find some kind of the niche market since the beginning that you're really focusing on, and just kind of build the brand around that. Let's say you're kind of gamifying DeFi, let's say, and we have this phrase in the catchphrase, like gamifying DeFi just goes really well, and like just kind of whenever you just gotta go with this phrase, it just kind of comes DeFi land right now, and like we're really happy with that, and like we're trying to bring. I'm not shielding my project or whatsoever, but I believe that the branding and just kind of going with the right words, right colors or whatever, the logo and everything is really important to kind of building your brand since the early days. Because like let's say once you kind of have really nice following, once you have investment and you have all the different kind of messages on the internet, or you have different kind of brand books and stuff like that, it's really, really hard to focus on one and choose one, because like people have seen many different stuff. It's really hard to create a really good brand afterwards. So if you really have an ambition to become a unicorn company, you should, since day zero, start focusing on the branding for sure. So I believe it's really, really important to someone at least from the team. So if you hire someone that's not going to work, I believe that someone from the team should be fully focused on the branding as well. as a founder, and then it will be really, really crucial for companies for sure. That's my opinion.
I mean, I'm more a builder, so we didn't do much branding and stuff. We just kept building. But the companies I invest, or overall, I kind of understand it's super important when you interact with your community and stuff, your branding is super important. And basically people invest into companies because of the names, right? So now crypto market is actually a bit stupid right now because, you know, they only want to see good names and they don't care about the tech. If there is Alameda on board, great, it's a great project. I mean, most likely, you know, the guys at Alameda, of course, doing a good job. I think there's Anthony here somewhere. But yeah, like people are following the names, and especially right now, everybody is trying to build super nice apps. And I think what changed also is pretty funny. So before, if in 2017 the apps were nice, they were like people didn't use them so much because they were thinking it's scam, and most likely it was scam. If it looks too good, it's scam. The worse it looks, the better it is. You know, so now it's changing into like kind of proper branding, huge companies. You know, Chainlink is doing crazy work on that. Solana did a great job, and FTX did a great job, obviously. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty funny how market changed.
Maybe to add to that with branding is that I think you should also have a good usability as a company. So branding translates into usability and also educating on it, at least like dynamically interacting with your community of understanding what they need to know to use your product. And how do you, questions for me is also with building a brand, like how do you create a dynamic brand that's actually lasting in this fast-paced changing environment? Yeah, and I second that you have to be very serious about branding from day one. Oh.
Yeah, and I do believe it's time to talk a bit about philosophy. Yeah, because with Nick, we had a pretty nice discussion before going to the stage. What's crypto unicorn? Yeah, because the obvious answer is take a look at market cap. Yeah, it's about money. But on the other hand, there is so many, well, let's say strange projects. Yeah, we need to be polite on this stage. Yeah, so many strange projects. They don't have real value. They don't perform. They don't have a real product. They have high capitalization. Probably it's like GDPR. Probably money cannot estimate the real value and cannot highlight the real unicorns. Probably we need another metrics to say, well, this project is a real unicorn, this, well, they're just rich guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, most likely people are looking at a project based on core market cap. I mean, I also found our projects that market cap is not big, but we do crazy things, you know. So, but what is super important and what I'm looking at as an investor, as a founder looking at our projects is the community, right? So you need to see how many people are interacting with this thing. You know, you need to see how many like holders do they have, how many transfers do they do, right? So we monitor on-chain activity. So we basically look at all these metrics, and if I see really that people are using the product, then the product is successful and it's good. So obviously if they get more exposure, you know, they might get more users and people, and then it becomes unicorn. So this is what I think the community is #1 thing.
Yeah, I believe, yeah, I totally agree with you. And I believe, yeah, it's really, before, like in previous cycles, we were just measuring by market cap, and basically that was it. And I believe that was really wrong because it's really price can be speculative a lot. So I believe that the daily active users, how much of the users are really actually engagement, like social engagement, what are the Twitter, Facebook, different social media activity scores, how many Discord community members you have on your meetings once you're talking to AMAs and stuff like that. That's all that matters. And if you just kind of look at their community, you just can simply tell if they're really happy that they're in their community or they're just kind of looking for some airdrops or if they're just looking for some tokens. So I believe you just kind of have to measure the community. And if the community is really passionate, if it's growing at a really good speed, that's all you need to kind of see to kind of spot the next unicorn for sure.
Nick, your point.
I think if you manage to apply a lot of focus to your market and you also have your team in place, then the next question for me would be, how do you scale up by automation? So are you able to automate your scaling and then actually grow really fast? Otherwise, it will take a lot of time and a lot of people.
Perfect, perfect. So I believe we are super close to be out of time. So we can sum up some points. Unicorns definitely have some common things, but it's impossible to create a guideline how to do it tomorrow. Yeah, it's a mix of product, of passion, product market fit, tokenomics, a bit of luck. Mostly, it's just about luck. Yeah.
There's nothing about luck. I mean,
yeah.
There is no luck. You create your own luck.
Agree.
I mean, I believe into luck, but still, you know, people who build, you just need the right momentum. You need to catch it. You know, that's it.
Yeah, I agree on this point. So, dear speakers, thanks for this panel. Guys, I wish you a great day. Enjoy Lisbon and following discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for inviting.
Thanks, Alex, and all of the speakers. We're ready to welcome our next keynote speaker, Sami Shlagu, and he's a co-founder of Cross the Ages. Please help me welcome him on the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. This is working. Hello, everybody. My name is Sami. I'm the founder of Cross the Ages. It's going to be better? Yeah, great. So, okay. So I'm the founder of Cross the Ages. I'm a video producer. Our company have many studios in Budapest, England, France, in Japan. We released more than 50 video games on new console. So on this project, we start 15 months ago with people from blockchain, and we created a unique game with NFT. So I start, let me check. Next one. Okay, we based this game on several books, 7 books. The first book was released 22 October. And we created a real IP on this game. So there are exactly 68 international artists involved on this project. You have the artists from Game of Thrones, Star Wars, League of Legends, Marvel, Avatar, and they all work together on this project. They created all the universe and all the cards of the game. Some artists start to sell some NFT, and they already reached 20, 40 Ether. They all have like a big reputation on the world of the NFT. We have 8 writers on the project. So you have Alain Damasio, he's one of the most important writers on science fiction. Arnaud Dolène, the head writer. You have Laurence Correa, she's the winner of the Golden Palm in Cannes. And they all work together to create this concept and this story. So on the gaming, you have many people working on the gaming. You have people as concept designer, mechanism designer, level designer, and we all have a part on this project. All the card gaming work on the same process. You have a system with scarcity. You have like common cards, uncommon cards. More you're gonna play, more you will have like this kind of cards. This is some card of the game. We created, when player come on Cross the Ages, he will get some digital card, and he will be able to mint the card for a small fees. So he will pay just $1. We will use Polygon, and player will mint the card from digital to NFT. As all collectible card game, you need to have something more than collected card. Otherwise, it's not funny. So we created a game. More people come on the game, more they play, and more they will be rewarded by free booster. They will have some booster every hour. Our objective is to push people to come to the game and to play to the game. So the player will have some booster as basic, double, lucky one, magic, and more they come, more they will be able to have some rare card. So when player gets 20 cards, he will be able to play to the game. Imagine game as Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone. When you have 20 cards, you can play against your opponent. You will have your deck with 20 cards, and your objective is to flip the card of your opponent. It's a very funny game with like a lot of rules. At the beginning, it's very simple, but more you're gonna play and more it's become addictive. Every party is around 5 minutes, and the objective is when you're gonna win party, you will have more point. More point will give you more reward. About the shop, we use the crystal. The crystal is a CDA token. This allows the player to pay and to get some booster, some avatar, some skin. On Cross the Ages, there are a new thing. It's about the price. The price of the booster is very cheap. You will pay from $3 to $12 to have a booster with card. This is quite different. Usually, you know, on crypto space, you can pay from 30 to 1 Ether to have a booster or to have some special card. Our job is to make a nuberization of the gaming. We are from the gaming part, and we want to create a game where it's going to be like a free access and easy access to all people playing on, you know, the world of the gaming and the collectible card. So we have a system with a mega box. Imagine that every day you come on the game, and at the end of the day, you will have a mega box. This mega box, you will have some booster, you will have some card inside, you will have some skin, you will have some gold. And the thing is, more you come, more you will have reward. Imagine the second day, you will have more. The third day, more. If you don't come the fourth day, the 5th day, you will restart from the beginning. Our objective is to grab people. There are sociological studies explaining you that if someone comes 5 days and playing to the game, you can grab it, and he will play to the game again and again. One of the concepts on this game is about the merging. So on Cross the Ages, every time when you have cards, you can merge them together to have an alternative card. So you have a normal version of all the cards, and you will have an alternative version. Why are we doing that? Because the objective on this game is to give value for every card. Imagine that you have like a fixed number of cards, but more you will play and less they will have cards, because people will merge to have alternative. and we created different alternative cards. So more you're going to play and more people will try to merge the card together to have like the best alternative one. For example, the card you've seen here, there are two versions. At the right, it's the normal one, and at the left, it's the alternative one. About the badges, so this is another way to give reward to the player. More the player come, when he open booster, when he gonna sell card, when he gonna play, we will give him reward to give him something more to stay on the game and to play to the game. And you have notification. So this game, you can play with it on your smartphone, and you can play with it on your desktop. Why notification? For a concept we created on Cross the Ages, and this is unique. Imagine that for the first time, you have a game that we can take NFT and transform all your NFT to NFC, to physical card. So every player will have the possibility, when he collected the full collection, to transform his cards as NFT and burn his NFT to get NFC. So you have 365 cards every year. We created a marketplace, so this marketplace is ready. And now we created the bridge between the game and the marketplace. We created also a premium card. So this is for the hardcore gamer. So imagine that you have the same card, but shiny one. So it's more complicated to get, but it will allow to the people to get something more rare on the game. So for special event on the game, we created 7 unique cards. It's like the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. And the thing is, we will put them around the world, and the thing is, those cards will be really, really rare. So player will be able to play with it, and every year we're going to give 7 unique cards on the game. So that's it for the presentation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Sami. Before I announce the next activity, I just wanted to give you the heads up. After the end of the conference, we will be hosting a small cocktail right behind the stage where we're having the event right now. So it will be a pleasure to see everyone here. And just give me the 3 seconds. I will reconfirm which one is up next, and I'll be back with you. Thank you.
Hola everyone, this is Blair and I'm so excited to see you guys in this way. And today I want to talk about how X Protocol empowers Metaverse with blockchain technology. X Protocol is the first Metaverse and application portal with native gameplay and crypto land economic model that is based on Rust language, and provides low-cost access to Metaverse for dApps on heterogeneous chains, sharing X Protocol users while enriching X Protocol's ecology. X Protocol aims to be an immersive Steam platform in the blockchain field. At the protocol layer, we have cross-chain data analysis, original mechanism of cross-chain bridge, and privacy computing as our technical foundation. X Cross-Chain Relay is a novel cross-chain verification relay that successfully implements a lightweight client to achieve cross-chain verification while reducing costs. The lightweight client uses technologies such as Merkle Mountain Range, optimistic whistleblower system, and relayer incentive model to ensure the stable operation of the system while guaranteeing the degree of decentralization and the speed of the network. At the application layer, X Protocol builds a gaming scenario and develops dApps such as Prediction Market, Cross-Chain NFT Marketplace, and Cross-Chain Vault as Metaverse infrastructure. Each dApp has its own domain name available for users to experience individually. And through the model of crypto land selling, it allows third-party dApps to migrate to the Metaverse domain cost-effectively and also makes the X Metaverse application ecology more prosperous. On October 29, Facebook announced that it would change its name to Meta. In this way, Meta demonstrated the arrival of a wave of NFT-based Metaverse development, and once again brought the concept of Metaverse into the spotlight. In the description of Neil Stephenson, the author of Snow Crash, Metaverse is a vast virtual digital world in which people live in digital doppelgangers, a parallel universe to the real world. The Metaverse is an immersive virtual world close to reality, an open-ended cyber world of the future. This property, which spans both the physical and digital worlds, is naturally suited to incorporate blockchain technology. It not only enables user data, digital goods, content, and IP to circulate in the Metaverse, but also allows users and companies to create content and goods, which in turn makes it more prosperous. More importantly, blockchain technology can also create a fully functioning economic system in the Metaverse that is linked to the real world. Therefore, the X Metaverse we built with blockchain technology as the underlying protocol was born. Then, how exactly does the X Metaverse look like? With the continuous development of decentralized on-chain products, X Protocol provides a variety of application scenarios and closed-loop economic system where users can participate in crypto social at any time through decentralized identity and create Metaverse civilization while experiencing the immersion brought by low latency and low gas fee. After talking about the grand worldview, we can take a look at the dApps within the X ecosystem. The prediction market is a huge event market where people can trade with predictions of future event outcomes. Another key value of the prediction market is its ability to collect predictions from all participants in the market to build a signaling tool that predicts the probable outcome of events. Here in XPredict Market, all users are free to initiate proposals, including but not limited to predictions of cryptocurrency price, but also the ability to initiate predictions for off-chain real events. We have hosted several events throughout the year, including predictions for the Euros, Tokyo Olympics, CSGO, and League of Legends Worlds 2021. We have received more than 10,000 wallet connections in XPredict Market. XPredict Market is innovative in that we have developed a new fixed product automated market maker for automated market making. This new algorithm is specifically used to determine the ratio between different options, allowing us to better analyze the on-chain data. At the beginning of the X Protocol Metaverse operation, we will build the necessary infrastructure applications on the land of the Metaverse in addition to the XPredict Market, such as acceptance center, NFT marketplace, revenue aggregators with cross-chain feature, etc. All these infrastructure will occupy a portion of the X Metaverse, while the rest of the land will be open for bidding at the auction house for all project parties and users. X Protocol will mainly be based in Polkadot, but also plans to deploy on other public chains in the future, such as Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Solana, Avalanche, and others, and will achieve further expansion of commercial lending scope through multi-chain deployment to become a metaverse of commercialization. X Protocol will work with the community to revolutionize the metaverse with the blockchain technology. Thank you all for listening and hope that we can see you soon. Bye.
That was an online keynote speech from Blair Z on powering Metaverse with blockchain technology. And right now we're moving to the last but not least panel discussion, which will be hosted by Cristina Lucrezia, who is an editor-in-chief at Cointelegraph. Please help me welcoming her on stage. And the speakers for this panel discussion will be Ilya Polasuhin, founder of Near, Eric Benz, partner of Mint VC, and Sami Shlagu, that's been with you here shortly, CEO and co-founder of Cross the Ages. Alexander will join us in a little while. Also, we'll take an opportunity to remind you about the cocktail that will be happening after the event that we're all looking very much forward to seeing you at. Thank you and enjoy.
How do you do today? Awesome. Saturday, and we are all talking about exciting things in the space. Please, my dear panelists, please join me here. Eric, Ilya, Samil, waiting for you here. Hello. Okay, Metaverse. I've just talked at 4 panels at Web Summit, and even though none of them was related to Metaverse, we actually talked about Metaverse at all of them. So my first question comes from the name of this panel. Guys, why Metaverse matters to you, and how your recent activities have been involved into Metaverse developments. Let's start with Eric.
Can everybody hear me? Is that better with the handheld? If I speak really with a deep voice? Okay, good. It's interesting now that, you know, the metaverse is becoming such an important topic because people in crypto, we've obviously been using this word metaverse for so long. We've been using this for, what, 8 years, 9 years now, as a word to kind of summarize what we're doing as far as, you know, development or tooling to kind of, you know, hide the fact that we were doing crypto or blockchain in the beginning. I think the fact that Mark has kind of come out and, you know, given the metaverse a seal of approval from his side has kind of brought it into the forefront. Fortunately for us, we're already far ahead of where Mark is, thank God. But, you know, I think this is a really interesting opportunity to look at a very technical landscape, a very new, innovative layer where boundaries and limitations don't exist, at least the ones that we're familiar with in the real world. And to be able to tap into that kind of environment and create a exponential human experience that somebody is not used to having or not comfortable with, or if what they do is more efficient or easier or cheaper or fun, then, you know, this is something that's new and exciting. And that with the metaverse is, it's really about breaking down a lot of the friction, the fragmentation, and the barriers that we see a lot in the technology used today.
Thank you very much. Great summary. Ilya, what about you? What are your current experiments with Metaverse?
Yeah, so
I borrowed this from somebody on Twitter, so this is not my words, but I do subscribe under it, which is Metaverse is really when our digital lives become more important than our physical lives, right? And this has been happening actually for past, 30 years.
More important than real life.
Yeah, like our digital identity, our identity on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on, in a game, on blockchain, whatever that is, like our money on blockchain, our, life is on social media, our conversations are in Telegram, right? That is Metaverse. This is really and we're already in it, to be clear, like the past 2 years actually forced us into it, even with higher kind of speed that it could have been. And so why it matters, because, well, actually our digital identity now matters a lot more, right? We have all those kind of things now moved into digital, and governments and companies are catching up on this as well, and Facebook is kind of a clear example of realizing that actually they are facilitating a lot of this. And so that's why it matters, and that's why creating these experiences that people can participate and actually feel like it's home for them is really important, and making sure it's secure, it's simple to use, and it kind of is able to handle all of the people in the world. That's really what we're trying to do.
I like that we focus on human experiences. And honestly, during the pandemic, during the lockdowns, I guess gamers maybe have been one of the biggest beneficiaries of this situation, just because they could create communities in isolation. Isn't it true, Sami?
Absolutely.
Isn't it also the fact that Metaverse will be becoming more important?
Yeah, I come from the video game industry for more than 10 years, and everything is changing and going so fast. I'll give you a quick example. A few years ago, people have to pay €69 to get a game. And from that, 4 years ago with Fortnite, people start, to have some game and some great experience for free. And they have, to pay some V-Buck to play to the game. And now, from 1 to 2 years, you have the play to earn coming, So this kind of game free. And also, more you're going to play to the game and more you're going to earn money. And Metaverse is something that is changing absolutely everything. So in few years, maybe less than 2 years, 18 months, we're going to use something absolutely different. So created a world, bring friends. The pandemic is something that made an acceleration about how we're going to use Metaverse. So it seems to be we're watching Ready Player One, but truly, I'm perfectly sure that in few months, we're going to be inside. So this is what's going to happen, and it's going faster and faster. I don't know if you agree with that.
I thought you had something
No, I was just wondering if everybody knows what the word meta actually means here. I mean, it's just simple. It's beyond what is known.
It's across.
It's beyond. It's the unknown, right? It's the ancient Greek word for beyond.
It's a prefix, actually.
And that pursuit of the unknown is what drives this advancement. And like Ilya said, our identities, you, me, everybody, our own data is what really is the most valuable thing. And now that we're getting smarter, we can use our own data to advance in different areas of the metaverse in this new ecosystem where my data actually is valuable. And when I give you my name, and when I give you my email, and when I give you my address, well, I want to be incentivized for that. And I think you're going to see a lot of data plays and a lot of very interesting things play out into the metaverse that are going to really be both advantageous to companies as well as to users.
Another project where our data plays a very important role is Facebook. Sorry, Meta. So I guess those who didn't know what is Metaverse now know what is it, just because Facebook announced this very interesting transition. So my question to you is, how do you think this hype will actually influence and impact the development of real Metaverse projects? Is it a good thing? will it bring us to more mainstream adoption, or is it something that actually compromises the idea of security of our data, of decentralized environment, with this giant that is Facebook, sorry, Meta?
Who wants to start?
Whoever
I can
wants
start
to
if you
start.
want.
With any hype comes more money into the system. So right now, anything that's meta, anything that's beyond this known technology kind of ecosystem, if it's different, if it's doing artificial intelligence, if it's like a game, if it's something that you can free to play, like, you know, all these big funds now, you know, investing and powering, some might not work, actually most might not work, but some will. And, you know, this is opportunity time. You know, no tech cycle is different from one another. If you look at every single tech cycle that you have before that you say now, it's the same. It really is the same. Just it gets bigger and bigger and bigger every time.
And also means there will be a crash in a year or so
Right.
of all the meta stuff.
So the size matters as well.
Just make sure you hold enough near, and then you can just come in and you know, be okay.
I mean, I think like what we've seen over the past year and a half is that crypto became a forefront thing for funds, for kind of institutional investors, for everyone. And part of it was because we saw kind of like a lot of unclarity in the traditional financial system. People kind of realized that, you know, well, US can print like $1 trillion just because they want to. And a lot of kind of funds, like, you know, we've seen all of the major funds becoming or starting their crypto practice, right? The people who I pitched to in 2018 and they were saying you're an idiot were calling me up and asking me to help them set up their crypto practice, right? So like that's already have been happening, and I think like Meta is just an example of that as well, kind of this bubbling up is just like actually the underlying trend been happening. The people who are, you know, actually looking at what's going on see like, hey, all of the social, all of the consumer, all of those things will become crypto enabled one way or another, right? Like we've seen, I mean, I randomly saw on my Twitter, McDonald's launched an NFT, right? And did an ad on it on Twitter, right? So like this kind of like we already here, and for me, you know, kind of just renaming to Meta, etc. That's just like kind of like I worked at Google before, and I know how like if you want to align your own really big company around something, you need to do something drastic. And so this is actually Facebook just trying to align their own team around the innovation that they see, and they've been trying to be part of, and they failed. Like if we actually see through Libra and Diem, which most of the people who worked on it originally already left, is like they just could not organize internal organization to actually work on this stuff because it's just such a different cultural system. And so they're trying to realign around it because obviously, you know, Mark is a smart guy. I don't think anybody will be arguing with that, and he knows where things are going. So if he doesn't realign his company, there will be others who will be able to outcompete because the consumer space will be driven by this, you know, play to earn, by, you know, right to earn, post to earn, you know, take a picture to earn, like all of those things where, you know, like what is cheaper than cheap? Well, actually earning money is cheaper than cheap, right? Like it's free. And so we like, and I've talked with some of the CEOs of really big social networks who literally know that is happening, right? They need an angle how to realign their organization around that because it's completely different from how it functions right now.
Well, I agree, but I think that in the space we actually tend to think too positively. And sometimes it's actually great to be more vigilant with these big experiments and with this, you know, very, very speedy developments. We sometimes are not on top of things just because it's developing so quickly. And all eyes are on us. And whenever big capitals come to the space, it means that there are scams, there are actors who do not know enough about the technology but try to, you know, use the hype to gain more money or visibility. We can see it with celebrities NFTs, like how many of them actually know anything about NFTs. So my question to you, what's the way to educate those who want to enter the space? Also in terms of Metaverse, like everybody's excited about Metaverse. How do you actually learn about how Metaverse works?
You have to. It's a very difficult when you're trying to change consumer mindset. It's like it's like moving a boulder that's as big as a bus. It's very difficult. I mean, look at this whole thing about money. It's a 2,000-year-old problem. We're just now fixing it. So NFTs and the whole educational process, we just need to make them realize that they are already using programmable digital objects. They are already in the metaverse. They are already a part of this revolution. They now need to act on it.
Ilya, do you agree?
So from my perspective, if our goal, which it is mass adoption, and at the same time we want to avoid and prevent people getting scammed, illegal activity, all those things. Kind of my view on this, we really need to kind of self-regulate in a way. We need to come up with a framework and principles and product improvements which make it really easy for everyone to understand and ideally early detect kind of criminal activity, scams, etc. Because we cannot, saying, hey, let's educate everyone in the world, let's say we want to bring billion people. Billion people does not know how financial system works. Billion people does not know how computers work. Most of those people think that internet is either Facebook or Google, one of those two things, right? That's the reality right now. Most people don't really understand how none of the technologies they're actually using day-to-day work, and they're fine. They're using it, right? And so reality is we're already bringing it, if we want to bring it to that side, we need to make sure that kind of all the technology we built is actually foolproof in a way, and make sure that we are able to detect kind of if somebody is creating a scam token, for example, and trying to do a launch of it, the wallet should prevent people from funding it, right? I mean, if people want to, they can do a command line thing, but most of the people will be using default wallets, mobile wallets, etc. Let's make sure that that wallet knows exactly when scam is happening, prevent them, inform user what they're doing, explain to them when some app is trying to steal all their money, right? All of those things we can do it. It's not that hard. We just need to come up with a set of regulations and make sure all the wallets, apps, protocols are following them.
Always optimist. No, I like this community. Always optimist. Gamers. How many gamers are there in the audience? Not no? You? Come on.
Crypto gamer.
Okay,
Who's crypto gamers?
I'm not a gamer, but I really know that gamers are the ones who adopt technologies, maybe the first out of all the sectors. So, Sami, can you explain the difference between a game and a metaverse?
Hard questions.
Sorry, I didn't send the question
no,
in
no,
advance.
no, it's no, it's absolutely
So
no
they
problem.
didn't have time.
The difference between a game and metaverse. The thing is, first of all, we are all going on metaverse, but there are no rules on metaverse. We don't know exactly what is going to be. You talked just a few minutes before about legislation about Facebook, about if they're gonna allow the access or not, or what's gonna be happen. The thing is, when you see the game, the new population of the gaming playing on the crypto world has an education on the gaming and on crypto. The thing is, for now, it's not general, it's just a few part of the people. It's coming grow up, but it's not exactly what it has to be. So when you was talking about the scam, there are so many people who will go into the scam because they don't know how it works. It's like when you receive the email, the phishing email, when you start internet and you don't know that you don't have to give your code access. This is exactly the same thing. So we need to have some time, about to explain to the new generation, the casual generation, how it works. And this is how we made the bridge between the crypto world and the gaming world.
You mentioned new generation, and of course for millennials, for Gen Z, this is something that is much more tangible. What about older generations? How can we involve them into Metaverse world if the e-commerce will start taking place in Metaverse? Do we even need to do that? Well, I guess yes, if we talk about adoption, mainstream adoption.
My grandma figured out how to use Telegram and texting me all the time, so it's possible.
Well, Telegram is here, and Metaverse is like somewhere there.
Well, again, it's like Metaverse is just a way to describe. It's like describing internet. Like I was actually trying to explain blockchain and to my grandma, and it's hard. But like I realized that if I tried to explain internet to her, and by the way, she had internet before me at home, and so like if I tried to explain internet, it would be exactly the same thing. Like just explaining something that's conceptually, there's a bunch of servers that store information, that you entered stuff. Like that's not what internet for people who are actually using it. What people for them it is Google and a bunch of websites, right? And so the way to explain Metaverse is not to explain this like, hey, it's a global network that connects all those things around your digital identity with like games and content, with social and fintech. No, it's like, here's a bunch of stuff you can do that you couldn't do before. Here's your identity, that's how it linked, and kind of get them to use the things they want to use. And so, like, kind of, as we talk about older generation, they have a bunch of stuff they want to do. They want to communicate with their friends. They want to find people who kind of similar to them in whatever way. Like, all those things are possible, and kind of in this new immersive experiences that we are building, that like maybe better or different from what they've experienced before, right? And like if you think of like where they were born, right? Like we talk like 80 years ago, for example. This is a tremendous change for what happened over the last 80 years, right? So I think that generation is pretty used to by now with things changing all the time under them.
And if you manage to explain to your granny what is blockchain, then you can speak at whatever stage you want in the world, for sure.
I also explained DAOs. That was harder actually than blockchain.
Okay. Okay, guys, this next question is inspired by the heat coming from this screen. We all hear this. I have pink ticks, I guess. When lockdown started, for the first month there were no online events, and then everybody started organizing online events. And there were experimenters who actually used virtual reality exhibition spaces within their events. It was really pretty cool. You could actually walk, you can choose your avatar, you could choose your dress, and there was a dance floor and opportunity to talk to exhibitors and explore booths, and there was a virtual stage where you could go and listen to virtual avatars of speakers. So it was pretty cool. The problem for me was that when I downloaded the app, and my computer is quite expensive. I mean, not the most expensive, but it's okay. After 5 minutes, my computer started being hot as the screen. And I had to close it down. So my hardware wasn't ready for this sort of virtual experience. Is there any gap? Is it only my problem, or how should we approach the technological basis for entering the metaverse space in order for everyone to have it working and not spending all data on 1 minute in a metaverse?
I think you're going to have similar to what you have in this legacy space. You have a lot of laws and rules and ways in which you can behave and act, and there's, I guess, some sort of standardized system that people follow and trust and kind of works. But again, in the metaverse, because it's so early, you're going to have a lot of it's going to be cowboy and Indian space. And as they say where I come from, cowboy and Indians is like 1840s, 1830s, so it's like 150 years ago. Very little culture in the United States, history culture. So with that said, you're going to have a lot of early failures, early people taking advantage, and it's going to be a really big job to put up measures and controls to make sure that people don't get hurt and the metaverse is not exploited for reasons that can be discussed on a separate panel, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, there has to be a proactive approach to making sure that, you know, content is being distributed fairly and things aren't being done in any harmful ways. But people will do it because, as we know, you know, if people find a way, they will use it if they really want something.
I think what Eric says is that that VR client was probably mining Monero on your machine. So, I mean, like technology-wise, there's like such a variety of tools for doing this. Like from, for example, one of our developers built this 2D app where you can walk around, and if you walk to a group of people, you can talk with them. And it runs on your phone. You can open it in the browser. Like it's very low requirements, right? It's 2D. It's very like pixel graphic. It's very like 1995 style. But you can talk with people around the world, and actually people having meetups in that. It's called Nearlands environment. If we go like to higher end, you know, realistic graphics, you know, 3D avatars, reading your body sensors to represent, yeah, that will take some more powerful hardware. But one thing we know about hardware is that it's getting better every year. So like even if it's, you know, lagging and slow right now, in a couple of years it will be like a normal that everybody uses.
Totally true. Yeah, it's totally true. If you see like what's happened, you know, year after years, when the VR starts 4 years ago, like every people was using the Oculus, you know, and they put the phone and, you know, they have like application and they feel vomit and they feel very bad like after 5 or 10 minutes. And more you see technology, like how it's going on, the more you see how it's become deeper and deeper and how you can have something near and close to the real. If you see, there are a company called Void in US. They created an immersive experience. It's absolutely stunning. It's like when you go inside, you don't feel that, you know, you feel really inside the game. You can even, you know, feel they put like a, you know, an armor, so you can feel everything. You know, the feeling when you someone, you know, push you, or you can feel the rain, you can feel the air, and this is pretty awesome.
Really?
So yeah, I think it's just a question about time. In like, yeah, the next 2 years, we will have something really impressive.
Okay, this is your chance to ask your questions. I'm pretty sure there are some exciting things that you wanted to hear. Is there any question from the audience? Also on our YouTube, please, those who are watching us, feel free to leave the message. Even if I do not read it now, I can read it after the panel and grab someone of the speakers and ask them person. Please, can we get a mic there? Thank you.
Hi. So everyone seems to be talking about the metaverse being really good. What are the bad aspects that you guys anticipate?
Are you a journalist?
Pardon me?
Are you a journalist?
No.
Okay, well, you could be a great journalist.
Thank you.
What was the question?
Did I hear it correctly? Can you just repeat
What
it?
are the bad aspects of Metaverse?
Yeah, the bad aspects. I mean, we touched upon a little bit, but it's an interesting way of looking at it. I think it depends on the individual, right? It's always about that personal preference of person. Like some people absolutely hate technology. I mean, I know a lot of people actually who absolutely will not open a laptop or barely use a mobile phone. But is that the bulk part of the population and masses? No. So yes, there's the bad components. Maybe it changes the whole family dynamic. Maybe it cuts interpersonal communications. Maybe it prevents people from being as active. Maybe there's health issues that might come up as a result of staying indoors and not getting enough vitamin D exposure. I don't know. I'm not. Maybe you get a lot of radiation from being in the metaverse too much. You know, loads of things can be thought about as far as bad things for the metaverse. But you know, again, you can have bad actors in the metaverse, is what we talked about earlier, where people are obviously doing illegal things and doing bad things. I just wanted to do that with the microphone.
If I can add, maybe is losing the contact with the real people. You know, like more we're gonna be in immersion on the metaverse, less you will see the people. So this is one of the biggest risks, in my opinion, is like we need, you know, to have like a good way to not falling down, because if we do that, we lost. I think we're already a little bit lost, but we're gonna be like totally lost.
Yeah, I mean, the Instagram right now is probably one of the great examples of like having the consequences of the people becoming obsessed by their by their presence on Instagram versus like who they are in real life, and that affects them psychologically, it affects them physically, etc. And so it's possible, if not done right, that these things will actually be at a higher degree, kind of as we making more immersive experiences and making your life becomes even more digital than it is right now. And so that's why it is important to actually set up some measures and controls, build everything in open, you know, make sure that kind of we follow the open web, open state, open source principles, and make sure that everything is audited. People can, like anybody can participate in development of these things versus kind of building it in one company in closed source and pretty much following, you know, incentives that are misaligned with kind of the user base as well.
I offer counseling for metaverse addicts. Anybody who's addicted to the metaverse, please speak to me and let me know, you know, later.
Not to mention that we are still on such an early stage that, of course, the intellectual property of NFTs is something that is still, you know, in the process of being built as a concept. Regulatory basis is still very, very, very young, and there are a lot of pitfalls. But I guess if we do not try, we would never arrive where we want to arrive. Any other question? Can we get a mic here, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you guys talked about gamification and the metaverse and maybe virtual meetups and the metaverse. But what do you guys think about maybe personal finance in the metaverse, and then maybe your work life in the metaverse? These different parts of our personal lives that you haven't talked about yet. How do you think about it?
Well, personal finance is, you know, the reason why a lot of us are in Lisbon in the first place is like DeFi, it's finance, you know, crypto, like that's already happening for, you know, there's a range of people for whom their crypto kind of and digital assets are probably bigger than their non-digital, non-crypto assets. So I think that's kind of what I was saying, like the transition of like from to your digital identity and your digital assets is happening right now, and it's already like on a way. And that for me is part of the meta kind of, it's not just gamification and, you know, that you're sitting in Oculus in 3D, it's the whole kind of, your digital identity now encompasses all of those components, right? Financial, you know, personal, like kind of like the content you're writing, the kind of things you consume, things you participate in, things you kind of get involved in, like in whatever medium that is, like if it's digital.
Just the thought of banking, having a bank in the metaverse, like, you know, creating a gamified version of a bank, and that's something that I'm actually involved with and doing, and it's quite exciting and fun, and being able to have a bank for your NFTs and any stable coin, and using any APIs from people like Circle or whoever else to do onboarding and offboarding. Yeah, it's a really cool future that's coming, and banking in the metaverse, it allows you to really do some cool stuff, because why the F would I bank in a traditional bank when I can now automate all these wonderful solutions that are out there? And the cool thing about DeFi is that, you know, when you see something you like, you have an idea and you're like, okay, well, I can now take this, and this, and piece it together and make something better and do something different and continue that innovation cycle. And that's what's brilliant about what we're seeing is that you'll have a lot of these, whether it's some similar things like Curve or any type of lending aggregator or whatever, this will now be used in these experiences, in these metaverse payment apps or banking apps or whatever systems you're going to be using. Or maybe it's just going to be in your own current wallet or bank that you use now, because in my opinion, speaking about 25 years down the line, the banks aren't going to be able to hold themselves. We'll buy the brands. We will buy the brands, and the banks will use us.
JP Morgan.
Because the brands are, unfortunately, the brands are trusted. And most people in this world trust JP Morgan. They trust Barclays. They trust all these names, Citibank, whatever. And you know what? We'll buy those brands.
And also there are humans working in banks as well, and they see that there is something cool happening around, so they will be interested in joining as an experience. Use case from Cointelegraph, we actually launched a store, Cointelegraph store, with our merch, I guess 3 days ago on Blocktopia.
The most comfortable socks.
Yeah, there are socks and t-shirts, no masks though, I don't know why. It's like political decision. Honestly, it's an exciting thing. I also invite you to check this out. I guess this is a great experience how we can involve this virtual space to our daily shopping. And you asked about a workspace. Honestly, it would be great for the centralized team. Like we at Cointelegraph are working from all the continents, over 100 people. Most of those I haven't even met. And it would be actually an incredible thing to be able to work in the same workspace in some metaverse. This is a great idea. Well, as soon as it starts being not as hot as, as this hardware, that would be really great. Thank you very much for your question. Any other question from the audience? Your last chance. We are wrapping up. Okay, please.
Do you see any privacy concerns within the metaverse? And like, what can we do to prevent any sort of, I guess, coercion between people who have the power and people who don't?
Thank you for your question. Very important question.
I mean, there's always privacy concerns on the internet, right? That's why encryption, you know, kind of digital identity, all those technologies is super needed to build. And there's like newer stuff like proxy encryption, zero knowledge that's coming out, which altogether give us a toolbox to build privacy solutions around kind of any experience. And I mean, if we're talking about like kind of gamified experiences, etc., well, you probably don't want your like work identity and your gaming identity and your where you're receiving money identity to be actually tied. Like this is what Balaji talking a lot about, is you actually want to have kind of a set of identities that you can use for different purposes that are kind of grouped under your real identity. And so that's part number one of kind of setting up privacy hygiene for your digital even personality. And so kind of going from there, well, like if we're talking about personal data, content, et cetera, that you're writing, well, it should be encrypted, stored in kind of decentralized storage, not on some single server. Make sure that it's like when you're interacting with someone, you want to share it, it's shared end to end, for example, through proxy encryption. So there's like a number of technologies that now enable building in a privacy first way, which was not even that possible a few years ago.
Even if you think about it, and if you see what happened, at the beginning of internet, who, was the police, the regulation about that. It took time, to have like step by step to understand like how it's going to happen, because we don't know exactly the risk and what's going to happen, because there are not going to be policemen, on the metaverse coming to your meta and say, oh, what are you doing now, So
maybe we need to set that up.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, NEAR has a NEAR Intelligence Agency guild. So we have those guilds, which are like sub-communities, and we have a NEAR Intelligence Agency, which their job is to look after all the other agencies and pretty much expose if something going wrong.
Interesting concept.
So maybe we'll have community-based policing,
Something like that, yeah. So yeah, we have to wait and see like what's going to happen step by step and to understand where are the problems, because it's just with the time we will understand where are the limits, of the meta.
In the end, in my opinion, it ends up being a question of actors, not of the technology itself. And unfortunately, as every young industry, we still have a lot of, darky, shadowy actors who actually do not
and they set it up themselves. We didn't do it.
do a very bad favor to the industry as a whole, just because they do not care about something that is one of the most important values in this industry, and this is privacy, actually. So thank you very much for your question. We have 2 minutes. In a couple of phrases, let's imagine we have this talk next year. What will change? What role will Metaverse play in our lives? Okay.
I mean, so
as if enough hasn't changed in a year, you know?
Yeah, I think it's always kind of hard to predict because it's probably whatever we say that's going to change will not, and then everything else will, right? It's like 2 years ago when people were asking what's going to happen in 2 years, we did not have a clueless idea that we'll have the pandemic, we'll have like acceleration of digital, we'll have like crumble of democracy in some countries. Like none of that was predictable. And the things we were predicting, like a lot more adoption or some of the things, some of it happened, some of it didn't, right? So like the hope is we'll get, like next wave of users going to come in and start using not just kind of the gaming stuff, play to earn, but also, digital, DeFi, kind of NFTs as a way to communicate and connect with your, user base in various ways. That's probably going to happen in some form, but not in another. And in turn, we'll have something new, right? Like the thing about crypto and why it's fun is that every 3 months there's something new that's completely changing how you look at it, right? And so that's why, that's actually the power of what we're building because everything is open. Like the combination and creating of new things is so much easier, and you can rely on the basic foundation, which you would never be able to rely in any other industry, right? Like if you're building a fintech startup, you cannot rely on another fintech startup that literally has 5 guys working on writing some code, right? But you can in DeFi. You can build on on Uniswap, which was built literally by the version 1 was built by one person in 3 months, right? And it's handling version 2 and 3 are handling more volume than Coinbase, which is thousands of people, $100 billion company, right? That is unimaginable, and this is where we are now.
Sammy, your prognosis?
2 years ago, there was not COVID. So if we've seen what's happened, everything is going so fast. We know that.
Meta-COVID.
Yeah, the meta-COVID. Something, gonna change absolutely everything. But yeah, no, seriously, it's going so fast. So we absolutely can't say that this is gonna happen. In my point of view, it's okay, we're just going on one direction and try to understand what's gonna happen. But saying what's gonna happen next year, I can't.
Okay, I just hope there will be no mosquitoes in any metaverse. Thank you very much for this insightful talk. We can continue at the coffee break section. Thank you very much everyone who was listening to us here and on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Epicenter, if we talk about Greek etymology, so epi means on the center. It's actually a very impressive concept in terms of decentralized environment. Why it's important? Epicenter in a decentralized environment. Because epicenter is where we want it to be and where we are. And it's all about humans in the end. It's not about technology, it's not about capital, it's about us. And whenever and wherever we are, there is the epicenter of our life and our future. I wish you a great experience exploring new technologies, exploring new connections with new people and new developments in this wonderful tech world. But don't forget that in the end, what matters the most is you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much all the team who organized this event, all the back office video team of Cointelegraph, thank you so much. Everyone who was involved, thank you very much. It really matters for me and for us that you are always on top of things. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Christina. I think it's a wrap for our conference today. We wanted to thank everyone who took their time and being with us today. And we'll hope to see everyone on the next event. And right now, see you at the cocktail. Thank you.